Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner. I'm here with James Farley.
Hello.
Matt Murray.
Hello.
And the main one, Sean Bell.
Holy shit. What happened?
You did a lot this week, didn't you?
I've
You did
been
a
busy.
lot this week.
Been busy.
You've been promoted to the main one. We'll get to that. We'd like to start the show by thanking our Patreon producers this month. They are Aaron Patrick, Anthony Oakenson, Simon Nelson, Tom S., Jack Oven, Moomin Biscuit, and Richard Sawyer. They went full Nels. You can go full Nels or join at any other tier by going to patreon.com/TCGS. You can get a cheeky bonus podcast that's coming this week, hopefully, because we haven't got long left of this month.
Oh, God, yeah, we haven't.
Yeah, well, personal lives have really got in the way this month, hasn't it? Let's face it. Or you could catch up with our brand new show, In the Quizening. Or is it In the Quizening?
In the Quizening.
In the Quizening.
I mean, fair play, Sean. That was something special, that was, wasn't it? Friday night, live for our $10 patrons. We had a live panel show. It all got very heated in places. Matt, you were taking it very seriously.
Yeah.
Well, I like to win.
I will say this, a little bit of feedback,
That must
Sean.
be frustrating for you, Matt.
I didn't think about this till about 3 days after we recorded it.
Yeah.
So today,
Yeah.
I forgot about this.
Is that so tomorrow?
I'm not going to give away who won and who lost and where everyone finished in the table, but you gave one person 2 points for answering one question out of nowhere at the end of the first round, and that never happened again.
No, yeah, we said it was double points for that question. They
But
both
why
got 2.
for that one question?
I can't remember. One of them said, like...
There was reasons for it, and
I don't
he was
think
trying to
there
help.
was.
He was trying to help people. Actually,
Yeah,
Dave.
he was trying to help people, wasn't he?
Although
But
it blew up in his face.
He
It did.
definitely was trying to help people. Yeah. Help some people, not help other people, you know.
yeah, so some people finished where they finished because they got a
I
little
mean,
bit of help.
we could have taken that point off him and he still would have...
No, I mean, we all know what we were talking about now, but let's go on to feedback. Matt Murray,
Okay,
feedback.
we'll start with someone called Dave. Not David Turner, of course.
That would
Someone
be
else called
weird,
Dave.
wouldn't it?
That'd be
I had
hilarious
to
if that
stop
happened.
listening to this podcast as your constant harassment of James has stopped being funny and is tantamount to bullying now. Shame, as you can be quite funny most of the time, even if I feel you are fairly biased towards Xbox. Good luck and goodbye.
James, are you biased towards Xbox?
No, I'm almost certainly probably referring to the three of you. This is why I've been dreading this podcast this week because, because it's 3 against 1, isn't it? Basically, for like the whole of this,
No,
what
it
we're going to
isn't.
talk about.
Only if
Of
you're
course
looking
it
at it
is.
in a weird partisan
know.
way.
I don't think James realised.
You're always looking at it in a weird partisan way. You'd already made up your mind before we went into that, Sean.
No, I
We
haven't.
discussed this.
I'm all about the PlayStation exclusives at the moment. I love it.
Sean, I don't think James has realised how entrenched into a console war he's got. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not at
how
all.
insanely entrenched into the console war he's got. Like, he's obsessed with. He's so defensive of Sony, and
Not true.
So, and the
You
Xbox.
are-
It's like, do you know what James has done? It's, you know, when someone has a car and it lets them down or it's, you know, unreliable or whatever, and say it's a Ford, and then they spend the rest of their lives going like, oh no, I
Ford's a
don't get a
shit.
Ford.
I wouldn't
Don't
get a
get a
Ford,
Ford, mate. Oh, I'm not reliable, mate. Oh, yeah. That's what
Can't
James
trust him.
has got. James has had one fucked Xbox, and that's it now.
Well,
That's it.
Put it
It'll
this
just
way.
never-
This is what made me laugh. This is what made me laugh, and we'll get onto this later. I'll explain how the show's going to go after the feedback. But I text James straight after the Xbox conference, and there was one particular game, I wonder which, that I was really disappointed in. And I texted him and said, that looks fucking awful. And you went, oh, I'm surprised to hear that from you. And I went,
I am surprised because you.
why?
Listen, all three of you just constantly Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass, like all the time. So all you ever go on about is Game
This is
Pass, just like
fantastic.
constantly.
James,
Because it's good.
Yeah,
What
I
is
know.
this-
I'm not denying it isn't good, but then it means that you just then
Sounds
write
like
off
you.
everything else. It's
Like
just
what?
it's ridiculous.
what are we writing off?
All right, we'll get to
Yeah,
this.
no, I'm
we'll get to
interested
this later.
to hear.
Listen, sometimes James needs an extra. Last week was a strange one, right? Because he kept dropping himself in it. And you can't just let us. You can't say to us, "Oh, don't pull him up on things," because that is. It's just some weeks he has bad weeks, some weeks he has slightly less bad weeks. And there's not going to be a point where we're going to stop ribbing him. It doesn't happen. I mean, he can do it to me. I've got no problem with it. I ain't gonna, get you all to email in, have a go at him, which James has clearly done the other way. So yeah,
What?
Sorry. Yeah, don't worry about it. Your mate, is he, Dave?
I don't know what you're talking about. This is
Okay, all
outrageous.
right. Next bit of feedback, Matt.
This is the problem. It's like dealing with children, like with you. Honestly, it's just ridiculous.
Well, you turn up every week. What do you want? You've known it. You've known what we've been like. You've known what I'm like since I was about 17, James. I'm 35
Is that how long,
been that?
is that how long
now.
you've known each other?
Is it really
Yeah.
that long?
Yeah,
No,
it's
I've-
got to be. Yeah, it was when Xbox Live first came out. We first
Yeah.
started
Jesus.
chatting.
I mean, I was in my
Oh.
early 30s at that point, and it's like, yeah.
I mean, that's yeah. No, I'm not gonna make the joke. Let's move on.
Okay.
James-
you were gonna.
Fucking hell,
Yeah,
Sean.
I know where you were going.
What
With that.
the-
Go on. Good one, Sean.
Oh, yeah, hang on. Oh, yeah.
We got him,
Okay.
Matt.
James McCall, we're going to move on quickly. James McCall, hi, some feedback around Paper Mario from last week's show. Strap in, James. That wasn't part of the email. That was just me. Okay. Contrary to James' description of the game, Mario does become stronger every time he finds a HP heart upgrade. Therefore, his attacks become stronger in battle and when just walking around the normal map also. Also, I disagree with the no XP description as well. Coins are your XP. Collect as many as possible as they help you in battles. By spending coins in the battle sections, you can extend the time you have to solve the puzzles that James hated so much, and also you can spend them to get the toads to help you with an enemy you're fighting. I love this game. It's not the same as the older ones, but if you like them, play them instead of this.
Okay.
Well, he's got
I
you
mean-
there.
Yeah.
He's
Thanks a lot.
he's totally got me, yeah. I mean, I should have just played all the old games instead.
Could you
rather
imagine if you
than,
turned up last week and said,
Yeah.
I've been playing Paper Mario? Oh, the new one.
I'll tell you what,
the one on the
also-
SNES.
The next
The new one's
time I
shit.
play Mario Odyssey and I collect coins, I'm going to think of it as collecting XP instead, so that I can then
Well, no,
buy
no,
suits
hold
and things
on,
like that.
I mean, they're different
whoa.
games, James.
Yeah, I've got to defend James here. He's saying that you spend the coins to upgrade your character to help you in battles. That sounds more like XP than buying a new suit in Super Mario Odyssey.
Or, buying mushrooms and stuff like that. It's pretty similar. I wouldn't say it's
Buying
that different.
mushrooms? When do you buy mushrooms?
Do you do that in Mario Odyssey? I can't remember. No, probably
No.
not.
Oh, he's
Yeah,
lost,
it falls,
Sorry.
it falls down at this
He's-
point,
he's
doesn't it?
lost it already.
He's done me with that, but yeah. But I've got very different opinions on Paper Mario now after last week, but we'll talk about that next week instead.
Before you email in, I'm pretty sure you buy those free hearts to power you up. All right? Okay? You got it there, James. You got one. You got one back. Go on, well done. Chalk that one up.
Right,
Next.
next one is Sam. To Sean, people use the contact form because they've been told there's a new form and the contact form shows up in the website header, whereas this one does not.
Fair enough. I mean, we do give everyone the address every episode, twice, in fact.
We
for
had
the
a
new
few
one.
emails on this, didn't we?
You what, sorry?
People kicking off saying, well, why are you having a go at us when it's an option on your web? Why don't you just take the option down?
I mean, that's a complaint you need to take up with the
Admin
manager of the
team.
website,
Matt,
isn't it?
I mean,
That's,
I don't have an issue with them using the old contact form, to be perfectly honest with you.
it just,
I
it
don't
was,
know.
it was just really strange to me that. So we had an old contact form that never got used until we made a new one, and we asked people to use the new one, and then suddenly everyone. But I understand if you go to the website and you go to the contact bit, that is what comes up. However,
Yeah, because what I did is I actually created a contact page and put it in the top header, because thinking, okay, well, but whatever. I mean, for the show and feedback, just go to that Google Doc is the easiest thing, and then if you've got
Wait,
another,
hold on. Why don't you just change the link in that contacts thing to take them to the Google Doc?
because for people who want a question on the podcast, there's loads of other contact options on that page. But one of the links says, if you've got a question for the pod, go here.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't matter. We'll have to deal with it.
TCGS.co
Don't act like you didn't mind it.
forward
You were
slash.
moaning about it in
No,
WhatsApp.
I wasn't very nice.
Dear
Listen back,
TCGS.
listen back to
You
the
were.
tapes.
You called it annoying. Look at the tapes.
Did I? Was
You
that
did,
me?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Was it me or was
Sean
it
moaned
Sean?
about it and you went, yeah, annoying. That's what you said.
Doesn't sound like me.
It sounds like
To
me
the
like it.
rest, not Matt. James doesn't come across as being wrong all the time because he's wrong all the time. He comes across as being wrong when he's arguing with David because David is stupidly good at arguing and manipulating the flow of conversation.
I am. You've got, yeah, I mean, that's true. I can't argue against that. That's exactly
In the
what
last
it is.
episode, 211 No Quit, James was berated for not defending someone who'd used a shoddy argument in an email in support of him, despite James never making the argument and not agreeing with it. Later, when he was misheard, David managed to end that conversation with, yeah, why would you say the thing you didn't say? Which is odd, because he didn't say it after hassling James for the thing he did not say, I might add.
I mean, I'll say this: you've put me in quotes there, but clearly that's not what I said because you forgot the whole argument by the time you'd emailed in. So, shake your ground there, shake your ground. Let's go back. We probably go through this whole email and sort of second guess everything because I'm not convinced by any of the information he's put forward here.
There's another bit here. After another example of David's manipulation is a discourse in the Game of the Year show.
Go on.
Where when he persuaded another to vote for Life is Strange, even though they didn't think it was the best game out of the year.
Yep.
There, his argument shifted from, well, I'm not going to change my vote, to, hey, lads, runner-up isn't bad for a game like this, to, this is TCGS Gotti. It's got to be the game that all of us agree on, and the game that we all think is great and has had the biggest impact on the podcast, and we've done a Life is Strange podcast, which has, I've just realised, been on my mind for 6 months, because it's antithetical to the notion of democracy that voting is based on. That episode deserved to end in a stalemate because the question being asked in those rankings is which game is best and not what do you think is the game that's given the most overall enjoyment for all members of the podcast, and especially not who has got the bigger heels and can dig them into the ground harder.
Right. I've got a lot
It's
to say
always
about
that, though, isn't it?
I've got a lot to say about that.
He finishes with, actually, never mind, stubbornness contests are the reason the Gotti podcast is so good.
Thank you. But Sam, you've projected that. What if we all decided that actually Game of the Year should be the one that people's like are really going to dig their heels in and have a massive argument about? Also, there was a lot of that. It was kind of after that episode went out, there's a lot of people saying, are we saying that every year the Game of the Year show winner will always be the game that most people have played on the podcast? No, it's just then I had to think of an argument in that moment to convince them to change their vote to the game that I wanted to be Game of the Year. And it worked. So, you know what I mean? Don't have a go at me. Have a go at those melts. Matt Murray.
Thanks for the pod. Keep James around. Don't get him to try and defend this email because despite it being in support of him, he has not made any of the arguments within.
Keep James around. We weren't going to kick him out.
Like he was on like a probation or something. We're just testing him out for 4 years.
Yeah. We've got bad news. You haven't quite passed.
You haven't quite cut. Yeah. Oh, of course, he's talking about the 4 weeks like review that we were doing, right? That's what he's doing. Yeah, sorry. I'd forgotten all about that. Right, write something down, Matt.
Darren Gargett. Upon hearing your predictions for the revival of the series, which are beloved by myself, I was left almost stunned to hear that Battletoads wasn't part of Banjo-Kazooie. The former is a series of side-scrollers which is based on a franchise which is a bootleg Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and whilst it's got the cheeky humour of a Rare game, mostly comes across as ultra cheesy. Only one of the games I enjoyed, and that's because, and that's the one that isn't rammed full of instant kills and terrible level design. Hyper Turbo Tunnel and Ice Tunnels. And so, Hyper Turbo Tunnel and Ice levels, fuck off. Banjo-Kazooie refined the format that Super Mario 64 laid out. Whilst it's not the most original concept to take what someone else has done before on the same system, it almost certainly makes up for it by giving the player an incredible hub world to explore, which is littered with incredible levels. There are a few stinkers, mind. The resonance the series has had is a powerful one, taking a similar stance to how Crash Bandicoot and Spyro have been revered. The only difference is that Banjo-Kazooie is actually a great game. The sequel, Tooie, isn't as good, but it is most certainly better than any Battletoads game. How many t-shirts of Zit, Rash, and what's the other one called do you see? Exactly.
Well, Phil Spencer had a Battletoads t-shirt.
Oh, James, listen, you must admit you were way off with that one, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, they're only on a par in the sense that they're both knockoffs of like better games or better ideas.
What?
And but apart from that, yeah,
What do you mean
it did go a bit far.
How's it?
It's not a knockoff.
Well, Banjo-Kazooie is. It's still a knockoff of the same idea of Mario 64.
Well, Hans, so
in fact, that they're platformers.
Yeah, so every 3D platform was a knockoff?
It came out like very shortly after Mario 64, And I'm not saying obviously they copied it because they didn't, but they did copy a lot of the structures and a lot of the gameplay.
To be fair, Mario 64 invented the good 3D platformer, so of course they were going to do that.
Croc, Sean.
There was
and
Croc.
Also, don't you think that Banjo-Kazooie offered enough to be able to stand on its own? I mean, it had 2 fucking characters to start with, like all those different move sets that. It had loads of stuff. What are you talking about?
God, Battletoads had Zit and Rash and some others that I'm not
whatever
aware
the
of.
third one was called.
Yeah.
Okay, this is James just like,
No,
He's
obviously, it was late at night and I just was bored by that
there
point.
we go. There's the answer we want to hear. It was late at night. And we all knew that was the answer, but I just wanted to see how much he could try and defend his stance there. Okay, you don't want more emails from Darren.
Okay, Ricky
No,
Cartwright.
I'll just say anything about Rare and there'll be an email, won't there? I mean, it was funny. I was sitting there looking at my watch thinking, how long is it going to be until he's heard this and how long is it going to be until we get an email? It was the afternoon, I think, of the day it came out. I was thinking,
I got you back, Darren. Don't listen to him, mate. Go on.
Okay, well, we're going to have one last email about cinema prices.
no.
Ricky Cartwright. Hi all. I'm just in the middle of this week's podcast. This is like, I guess, a couple of weeks maybe. I don't know, it was, okay, fuck it. I'm going to read the email. I'm just in the middle of this week's podcast and I had to write in and defend James. On the subject of cinema prices, the reason for the huge upturn in attendance is because large cinema chains have altered their pricing strategy to align with video game pricing. Large chains like View have dropped their ticket prices from 10 to 12 to £5 so they can get more people in through the door and upsell them on their equivalent of loot boxes, snacks, t-shirts, merch, etc. Tickets aren't £5, are they?
They
Where
are.
I live.
They are in View cinemas, but that's like very recent, as far as I'm aware. That only happened like early this year at my local one, anyway.
Wow, I didn't know they were £5.
I've never heard of £5.
Obviously, the £5 where I live. I like Chen and I can go to the cinema.
You could barely
less than
describe
10
it as
quid.
a cinema, can you?
It's fine.
Do you know what I mean?
Better than the
You
Odeon.
walk in someone's front room. If you can hear someone say, "Shall I put the kettle on while you're watching a major blockbuster?" You know you're not in a proper cinema, James.
It's also pretty clear that the film's been torrented as well.
Classic Canterbury. So they have seen their strategy of increasing prices failed and have tried to increase profits in other ways. On the subject of video game prices, my concern is that we can't trust developers to be fair to us. For example, if we agree that a new AAA games with huge development costs like Spider-Man should be priced at, say, $69.99, then to be fair, after the game sells huge numbers and they make their money back, developers should reduce the price or sequels which iterate on the work done before and have a much lower budget, such as Miles Morales. Do you really think there's any way this would happen? I believe prices for most big budget new games and all their cheaper sequels will increase to $69.99, and we would still see the revenue generating tactics of DLC and loot boxes present in those games. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Be interested to see what you think of
that's a fair argument, isn't it? If it was so based on budgets, why? Yeah, the point is if they've done half of the work in the first game, why is the sequel still the same price?
You say that, but then the Uncharted Lost Legacy that wasn't a full price game.
Yeah, no, but come on, Matt. We had, what was it, Uncharted? I mean, you look at Uncharted 2 and 3. I think they're more comparable. Lost Legacy was a smaller game. It was it wasn't seen as a full price game like those other ones were.
I mean, I think
point.
that's the case because it's using the same engine as Uncharted 4. Whereas, but the jump between 2 and 3, like there was such an upgrade between those games that
was there between 2 and 3.
Well, I don't.
Are you
think
thinking
you can
between
say
1
just,
and 2?
Well, I mean, okay. So you're saying what 3 should have been cheaper because it uses the same stuff as 2? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not necessarily saying that. I'm saying that if I would assume, I don't know for a fact, but I would assume that 3 was cheaper to make than 2.
But there's so much more going on. I didn't think that was just like, it wasn't just like a sequel to 2. I thought there was more going on in 3.
Either way, there should be variable pricing. That would be much better for a lot of this stuff, rather than just saying everything has to cost exactly the same. I think that would fix it.
Yeah, I don't think that's what will happen though.
No, it won't happen, but
No chance.
Well, it's weird because one reason I know in the past, one reason for the rigidity on pricing, and I mean, the last time I read anything about this was like PS2 era, so this is probably really outdated. But basically, so obviously, if you release a game on the PlayStation 2, you pay a fee to Sony, right? Obviously, and that used to be a fixed amount, and that was why it was really rare to see. I mean, obviously on the PS2, there were a few sort of budget box releases, but you were like the amount of revenue left for the developer and publisher was like reduced considerably because you were still paying like a tenner to Sony or whatever to the platform holder every time you sold a copy. And I remember there was like a campaign to be like, look, guys, this should be a percentage. It shouldn't be a flat amount. And I've no idea where that went. I mean, it must have come into play, right? Because with the amount of like smaller digital titles and stuff, yeah, I don't know what the workings are now, but certainly in the past, that was why it was like, this is how much a box game has to cost because the platform holder is already taking a set amount, no matter how big the game is or whatever. So maybe it's just like a habit from back then that we're still not quite out of, you know?
Yeah.
But also, I guess they were never forced to change prices. People were willing and happy, in inverted commas, to pay those prices. So why would they think, it's cheaper now, we'll do it cheaper? No, I mean, of course not.
Yeah.
But it's the same.
There's no
it's
need
the same
to start undercutting anyone else.
Exactly,
so, yeah.
But it's the same with this. I mean, they're gonna put games out at like £70 or whatever when the new consoles launch, and it just depends on whether people buy them or not.
Because
as to whether they stay
I
at
think
that
this
price.
happened a couple of weeks ago. But okay, so it's 2K that have said 70. I think Ubisoft have said they're going to keep it at 60, aren't they?
Okay.
So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what difference is on launch day. If Ubisoft, I've already said the next gen games are not going to increase in price.
But then, do you reckon there's that like really sort of backwards attitude of like, if you're in a shop and you're buying a game for your new next gen console, and one game's £70 and the other one's 60, do people look at the 60 one and go, well, maybe it's not as good?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's always a perception of value, isn't there?
I think they're more thinking, well, I'm more likely to take a punt on it because it's £10 cheaper.
I think you're probably right. I think that mentality does exist, though, that people are like, it's like saying that value perception, and it's wrong, but I think people do it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think also
that's true in
Ubisoft at the moment are
walks of
looking
life.
for PR wins at the moment.
They certainly are.
You know, it's
Yeah. 6 Squid Games. Following last week's targeting of Dr. Farley, I wanted to offer a piece of positive feedback about the Good Doctor's contribution.
Were we that bad last week? Were we that bad? Why have we got so many emails about?
I mean, was it our fault or was it? I mean,
that's the question, Matt.
Yeah.
That's what I'm wondering.
Who's really to blame? Is it us for trying to make this an incredible show and rise everyone up, or could some other people
rise everyone up? Is that what we're trying to do?
I was going to say raise the quality, but I was going to go to the whole high tides raise all boats or whatever.
We're starting a revolution by dicking on James. Is that the idea?
That's what it takes. Following last week's targeting of Dr. Farley, I wanted to offer a piece of positive feedback about the Good Doctor's contribution. I thought he was at his soundest when, despite his love for Nintendo, he mentioned that the Switch was entering one microwave fallow period with this year's release schedule. The claim is supported by the company's history. The Wii U's first-party lineup petered out with a similar release, Paper Mario, Color Splash, marking the end of the console at nearly the 4-year mark. Never an optimist, and following Dr. Farley's analysis, it sounds like the Switch might be on its way out within the next year.
I mean, think that's true.
Yeah, no one thinks that. Do they?
No, it's. But it is no, absolutely. I don't think that's happening. But it is. We are in the part of the Nintendo cycle for a console where there is definitely less coming, and the best stuff is behind us now. I think. For whatever
do
comes
think
next.
though that there's still a lot more to come, and that we would have seen a lot. We would have seen a lot more this year had it not been during the pandemic. And
to be clear, if Nintendo didn't put any more games out for the Switch, I still think it's a brilliant console because it's still my favourite place to play indie stuff.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's still. I was thinking about this the other day. I think it's almost certainly the best Nintendo console I've owned. I think, in terms of I've played on it so much more than I've played on probably any other handheld. That I've had over the years.
The Switch is so good; it could survive without first party. I mean,
that's what I mean. And don't get me wrong. Obviously, it would be a fucking travesty if Nintendo just went, actually, no, fuck it. But I just, theoretically, I would still have stuff to play on it.
Definitely. I mean, the Vita did amazing, and Sony gave up on that. Way before the indies did. That was the great place to play indie games.
Yeah.
So
totally.
if Nintendo ever say, we're not going to release games, it's frustrating as fans. We want some more Nintendo games, but if they didn't, it's still a great console because of that.
There's every week there's so much stuff that's coming out. I mean, to be fair, a lot of it is not very good, but there is also a lot of like little gems here and there that you can pick up. Mostly indie games. There's so much good stuff on there, for that.
Does need some more Nintendo stuff though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Despite all that.
No, so, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying it would be okay if they didn't. Like, I'd certainly rather more Nintendo stuff. Just the idea that like the Switch is dead is ludicrous.
Yeah, it's absolutely not.
Yeah. They've not announced anything about the August Animal Crossing update yet, have they?
No.
I'll tell you what, though.
I really hope that. I mean, I'm not expecting anything now, but I want to see how bad it is. I think that's the situation I'm in now. I want to see how pathetic.
I mean, the July one was pretty pathetic, and I'll be kind of hoping the next one will be good, and it'll be rubbish, and then good, and then rubbish, and it'll be like TikTok. I don't mean like the social network. I mean, they'll be like, I mean, like Tick is like a little one, Tok's a big one. Then we'll do it like that. That'll be the cadence. But
see what you mean.
We've yet to have a Tok. No,
I mean,
too many ticks. Not
this clock might be ticking.
That's right.
That's
right. Clock's fucked.
We've got one from Sean Thomas about the same subject, but I think it's interesting. Hi, TCGS.co crew. Was interested to hear James and Sean last week when they say they felt we were in a similar fallow period of Nintendo first-party news a la the Wii U era. I've been debating the same topic with a few friends on the forum, and many other Switch owners felt similarly. I think I probably have a different perspective, having only ever owned a Wii U, and a Switch for the past decade. I'll admit that Nintendo now solely developing for one console, this drought concerns me. And there are echoes of 2015 and 16 where being a Wii U owner was soul destroying. But there are huge differences why I put this at the door coronavirus rather than laziness. In that 2-year period as a Wii U owner, every direct was hollow and aimed at a Japanese JRPG market. The best one in that time was still worse than the recent Mini. Animal Crossing was reduced to an amiibo promotion, third-party support vanished, indie Kickstarter started shifting to Xbox One, and bar a TBC release date for a new Zelda that shifted every year, it was awful. Shovel Knight getting a new DLC chapter you'd already paid for was about as good as it got, and I spent 3 years after buying my Wii U clutching at straws about why it was a wise move over getting a PS4 instead. We do at least know that Breath of the Wild 2, No More Heroes 3, Metroid Prime 4, Shin Megami Tensei, Bayonetta 3, Pokemon Snap, Smash DLC for James, and Bravely Default 2 are all in development. It's possible some of those games may get cancelled, but I'll be surprised. That lineup alone and the recent Paper Mario game is better than anything we got for Wii U. My guess is that we would have got the Mario 35th remasters next month to coincide with the opening of the Nintendo theme park and Lego Mario sets, but they've been held back as a big holiday game might not make it due to coronavirus. I suspect there may be Breath of the Wild 2 to compete with PS5 and Xbox Series X. I think the biggest disappointment of late has been that Nintendo have finally gotten better at being a bit more transparent and savvy of late, so I feel the way they've handled this window has been a bit amateurish. When other publishers are releasing so much news, they have to counter it with something, or put something on the horizon to get excited about, even a new Zelda teaser. I ended my years as a Wii U owner having played 25 games and pretty much exhausting the entire system's gaming catalogue. Even through this drought, I have a huge backlog I'm working through. So I think Switch has got a great future ahead of it, and that 2020 will obviously be a poor year when looked back on, given that it's almost August and we've only had Xenoblade Chronicles, Paper Mario and Animal Crossing. I just suspect it's more down to the epidemic than anything else.
You say that. You say they've got to put it out. They've got to put it out. I don't think they have. I mean, you look at the charts today. What was it? Animal Crossing number 2, Paper Mario number 3, Mario Kart 8 number 4.
Yeah.
You had 51 worldwide games in the top 10. It's they've got enough software out there. They've got enough sales for their hardware out there ticking by. You couldn't get a Switch during the pandemic, so no. It's not like they're putting out games to try and get more people to buy systems or anything. They just thought, we've got enough out there to see us through, and we're going to have disruptions on our software development. I genuinely think that they were going to announce this, remaster of the Mario games for midway through the year, and then maybe have another game for the end of the year. And I think they've just put it back a couple of quarters. You know what I mean? Just so the Mario games will come out at the end of the year, and then we'll see some really good stuff midway through next year or at the start of next year. I think that's the way they're going to go.
All this time when we talk about these rumours and these remasters, I've always been thinking, well, if it's a 35th year, wouldn't they not have like released this stuff, early on, January, February, March? But this whole thing about, coinciding with the theme park opening in August, it was meant to be August. The Lego sets, I guess, August to release the whole thing is like a massive big bang, I guess does make sense. And they've obviously been hit, I guess.
They've been hit by it and they just think, well, let's ride through it. And then once we're out of it, we're going to have this huge, big rush of new games. Right now, the games are dominating the charts. And people can finally start buying Switches again.
Do you think they're going to release all of it at Christmas time then?
No,
not all of it.
I think they're literally taking their release schedule and moving it back by 6 months.
Okay, but do you think they will come out this year or next year?
What?
These remasters and stuff.
I think there's a possibility that the remasters will come out this year. And whatever I think they've probably had something else planned for Q4 of this year, but that will get shifted to midway through next year. I'm not 100% sure on that, but
these things will sell regardless. But it's a 35th year. I mean, releasing them next year, it doesn't matter. They'll still sell. It was a marketing thing, and that marketing thing's gone out the window now, isn't it? Well, it's not a marketing thing. It's the 35th anniversary. That's
Yeah, it's a marketing thing, Matt.
Yeah, but
he wasn't actually born on the.
It's 35 years since Mario. 36 years is like, well, what's that? That's not.
That's what I'm saying. They've lost that marketing thing. That's all it is. That was the marketing push that put everything together. That doesn't exist anymore. I don't think they really care. I really don't think they really care.
Maybe they'll do like a. Imagine if they did like a Mario All Stars Switch bundle at Christmas. That'd be brilliant.
Exactly. I think that's what they've probably thought. Look, are we going to force these games out when shops are shut and people are being locked in? Or are we going to wait until this hopefully eases a little bit and then, bring it all out for Christmas time? We don't know what situation we're going to be in around Christmas time, but I'm sure they'll readdress it then. But
it will certainly be interesting when the next gen console release dates are announced and Nintendo like, how about we drop all that Mario news on that weekend? To try and combat the next gen stuff.
But I think they need retail stores to be open in enough areas for it to make sense for them. I really do think they see that as an important part of their business.
Nintendo probably don't know you can buy games online, so
sorry,
Nintendo probably aren't. They're like, you can buy video games online.
Oh, I think they've probably woken up to the fact that they can do that stuff with Animal Crossing. To be honest with you, but
they've made a load of money out of digital sales. It's been huge.
Yeah, but I think when it comes to Mario and the sort of casual market walking into a game shop and saying, "There's that new Mario game. Should we buy that new Mario game?" I think that's gonna. I think they see that as very important. Right? Is that it?
No, last one here from James Bailey. Hi, Matt. My name is James, and I'm contacting you on behalf of the Carling marketing team. I'm personally a big fan of the show, and Carling are currently looking to trial some new marketing targeting smaller, close-knit communities, such as those around your podcast and streams. As a big fan of yours, I know you always like to promote a drink on your Twitch streams and was hoping to put your show forward as part of a marketing beta. This would involve drinking some of our products while streaming and commenting positively on them. Of course, we would provide sample products free of charge. There will not be any additional payment available during the trial stage. However, if the marketing team deem this initiative a success, the budget will expand for us to bring on streamers through partner contracts. Obviously, there are many rules in place which we need to discuss, and some things need to be signed off at first. We just need to know if you're interested in joining the initial trial run. Please get back to me as soon as possible, as places will be limited. I wanted to try and get you first, as I'm a big fan of the show. Kind regards, James Bailey. Piers, I haven't caught up with the show on Sunday, but I can't wait to see how you got on with Hitman.
Right, okay, all right. So this wasn't real then, this email? This was a joke, was it?
Yes.
Right, okay, fine. Right, I've got something to tell you on that.
Earlier, did you think it was real?
Well, I had no idea. I didn't watch
it was real, yeah.
Thing.
Oh, I read your comments and I was like, I didn't quite get them because it's obvious it was
that explains... Right, okay, so this was a wind-up. So what? Can you explain why this email come in?
Well,
because I was sitting there, when you started reading it, I thought, this is really unprofessional. You can't read this email out. What you
That's
doing?
exactly what I was just thinking.
Hang on,
this is a
James,
bit rude.
you read this email earlier and you thought it was real?
Right.
Yeah.
Wait,
Absolutely.
Matt, you don't know the half of it. Go on. I've got to tell him, James. I've got to tell him.
Yeah, go on.
But go on. What? So where's this come from, Matt?
Well, yeah, I mean, most obviously with Sunday night streams, I have like a drink and I talk about like the IPA or whatever I'm drinking, and then someone said, have you not got a drink sponsorship yet? And I was like, and basically somehow Carling got, the idea of Carling got involved, and I was like, if anyone for Carling is watching, don't get in touch.
It's horrific. Right, okay. So I saw it and I thought, this is awful. This is actually insulting. They're saying they want to sponsor the streams or whatever, but they don't want to pay us. They want to give us free Carling. And and the quote about, you can say nice things about Carling. And I thought,
comment positively.
You're going to need a lot of money to convince anyone to say nice things about Carling. Can I read the text?
Yeah, go on.
Please do. I did think that I was a bit busy today, so I couldn't really respond. But I thought, it's a joke. Why are you talking about it like that?
Matt, we didn't watch
terrified.
The stream. Yeah,
I was terrified
without
about
I
this.
said
context,
it was related to something I said on the show. I said, ha ha ha, related to something I said on the stream.
Oh God, I don't
But
come
James,
out
you
good
read
in
it.
this
How
either.
could you have read that and thought, this is serious?
Right, okay.
No, because I thought you'd been on the stream soliciting.
Even if I had, read the email.
Right. So James texted me and said, am I wrong in thinking that this Carling thing is a terrible idea?
Oh my God!
And I put, no, we're not doing it. It's a total piss take. And James put, is Matt serious, do you think? And he put, I don't even like Carling.
Oh my God, I can't believe you thought this was real. Congratulations, James Bailey.
I replied, he's not considering it, is he? And then James put, the response he gave in WhatsApp sounded like he was.
Oh my God.
I read your response.
My
and I
response
just
was,
thought,
ha ha ha, it was because something I said on the stream last night.
We're getting to that. I put, does it? It doesn't to me. And then James put a screenshot of your response as you put, yeah, it's great. It's due to something I said on stream last night. Right?
yeah, you didn't say ha ha ha. You just said, yeah, this is great. And I was thinking, oh shit.
Then I replied, yeah, I just think he finds it funny. James replied, I hope so.
I can't believe
Did you know this was a joke?
No, I thought this was legit. I mean, obviously,
Yeah, see, everyone
obviously
did.
it doesn't concern me, but did not twig that this was.
Surely you just got to read
a
that
joke.
thing. Obviously, it's a piss take, and especially the bit at the end. Like, I definitely haven't watched the stream last night, but
I know, but I mean, no offense, Matt, but
Matt,
people
you say-
who work
you
in
say
marketing
it
can
seems-
talk weird sometimes. So I just
You say it sounds like a piss take. Have you read some of the emails we get?
Yeah, exactly.
100%. Yeah. I'll never forget the one. I won't name the company, but I'll never forget the one that emailed us saying, I've just been checking out your show. We're very, very excited. We want to get involved with you. And it wasn't a video game. It wasn't anything gaming related as such. It was more about equipment, wasn't it?
Oh,
And
yeah,
they were
yeah.
going, we want to get involved, and are you interested? And I replied and said, yeah. What did you have in mind? Let's talk. Blah blah blah. And then they just didn't reply.
Yep,
It's like
nothing.
that was it. It was so
I mean,
bizarre.
this email, it reads like a dash radio email.
That is very true. What a weird phase in our history that was. Dash Radio. Can we use your content for free? Yeah, sure you can. Can you change our content for your content for us? No. Okay then. Can you change it though? No. Okay, fine. Yeah, I respect that.
can you make it under an hour?
Can you change it?
No.
No.
Can you make it under 2 hours?
Okay.
No.
Okay, just sign this contract that signs over all the rights to your shows.
No.
No. Okay, you can't be on anymore.
Okay.
Come on, yeah, they did say that we'd have parking though.
You get free parking at the office in America.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Specifically in that contract, it said we weren't allowed to use their car park.
yeah.
It specifically said
joking?
you
I've
are
been
not
parking my car
allowed
there for
to use
weeks.
our car park. Dash
We use
Radio.
it all the time when I'm nipping into LA.
I think Snoop Dogg had a word.
Bizarre.
He wasn't.
Is it still going? That's the question. Is there still a multiplayer channel on Dash Radio?
I had to unfollow that stuff. It's too much. Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you, James Bailey, for that email. I can't believe that. I mean, what I'm going to find actually is there'll be like a genuine email from Carling in the inbox tomorrow. Like, no, we weren't joking. Here's our credentials. Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
But I can't believe these guys. You mugged these guys right off. Anyway, thank you for the email. Thank you for all the emails and the feedback. It's you can send feedback to tcgs.co/dear TCGS. It's the easiest way to do that.
Right, hold on. Before we go, it is still going. Let's hear what's on.
I know. I just had looked to see on the Wikipedia page to see if we're still mentioned, but we're not.
Were we on their Wikipedia page?
We were, yeah.
Oh, right.
Oh wow.
They've removed that. Well, that's what you're missing out on Dash Radio, ladies and gentlemen.
Gutting.
They'll probably sue us now for this.
Yeah.
I don't think they own the copyright type music, though. That's the thing, sure. Right, okay, so it's a bit of a different show this week. We are not doing what you've been playing. Obviously, it's the Xbox Showcase special. We'll be going through everything that was announced, our thoughts on it overall, and where we currently sit in the old Xbox versus PS5 thing. But first of all, let's get through the news. James Farley, your time to shine.
Yeah. Okay, so there's been... Don't do that, come on.
Don't you do it. You started it. I said, James, your time to shine. You went, yeah.
Yeah, because the news is shit, Dave.
Exactly, it's like...
Oh, right. Oh, I see. Okay. Go on.
Yeah. I mean, the Ubisoft family has been accused of mishandling sexual misconduct claims. So there's been further developments since we podcasted last week. What it is Jason Schreier has published an article with Bloomberg, and he's revealed that allegations have been logged for like a long time at Ubisoft, but nothing was done to deal with the problem at all. And survivors have had to endure what the police describes as like subtle forms of sexism, but also sexual assault. It says, moreover, staff openly made misogynist or racist comments across the publisher's various offices, and senior executives took part and escalated the misconduct in the form of inappropriate touching or other sexual advances. And this is what current and former employees have said to Jason Schreier. There was Ellen Lee, who worked in the marketing and promotions at Ubisoft's San Francisco office for 7 years, just said the culture there is really hard for women. If you aren't part of the boys' club, you are just working hard on the outskirts. And the Bloomberg article details a lot of the abuse and a lot of the things that were going on. It's certainly should be read, I would say. Yeah,
it's something was brought to our attention from our discussions from last week, and I think we should address it. We had a few, correspondence with people. We're not going to, say who they were or what they said, because it wasn't an email in. Otherwise, we would have read it out, as always, with the feedback that we get. But maybe we didn't put ourselves across the way that we intended to last week. The points were made that we didn't really focus on the abuse claims and how serious they were, and put a spotlight on how bad the discussion was very much about whether we would still be playing Ubisoft games. Like, that was where we went with that conversation. And really, we didn't go into the reasons why we were questioning that in the first place. And that was just something that I think we slipped up on, partly, but also something that I think comes with intent. I mean, we didn't intend to shrug off these sort of abuse allegations. I know, James, you took you decided not to go into each individual claim and report, did you?
Yeah, you see, the thing is, it's not that I didn't want to sort of discuss it at all. It's just that the thing that I was concerned about, honestly, is that I didn't want to start reading through all of this detail and then maybe it would upset people or trigger people that had similar experiences, this kind of thing. And I just, I didn't feel comfortable doing that at that time. But maybe that was the wrong thing.
No, I don't know if it was. I think if that's how you wanted to do it, and I understand your reasoning. I think all we want to say from that, and to the people that did give us this feedback this week, is that we're sorry that you feel let down, and all we can say is that wasn't the intention of our discussion. That's not who we are. And I think we will make messy mistakes like this, as we did last week. I think we will make messy mistakes like this again, because our approach has always been, let's talk about it on the show. And that's risky, because it puts our hearts on the line. It puts our thoughts out there without properly sort of putting them together. And I know that there's probably an argument saying, hey, look, if you're broadcasting this stuff, then maybe you should take the time to gather all your thoughts and put them out in a concise way to get your point across. But I certainly, I don't know about you guys, but my stance has always been, I would rather us have an open and honest discussion about it, get pulled up on a few things and listen, rather than put out a generic, picture with a statement on it and say, and websites do that for their own reasons, right? That's business, right? We're not that. We're hobbyists, and we're putting this show together. But my view has always been, the only way we're going to get pulled up and corrected and understand that is by making mistakes and listen. So if we ever say something that you feel personally let down by, and I'm sure the majority of you know that you can do this, get in touch with us. You don't have to email in. You can DM us. You can get onto our Discord and PM us on there. If you don't want it made public, then just say. But I will always say, and I mean this, we will always listen. We will not always necessarily agree with the points that you make if we feel that we don't agree with them. But we will always say that. We will always try and be as honest as we can. And the problem with that is that sometimes we're wrong. And so long as we have this understanding between us and you, whoever's listening to this, that that we will listen to your criticisms, then I think that's probably the best possible way we can work through these sort of conversations, because they're tough conversations to have. And if we put out just a one statement and say, okay, that's dealt with, that's not good enough for me, because it's not dealt with. No one's learned anything. There's been no discussion. It's just been we don't agree with this, that's it, goodbye, next subject. That's not how I feel these conversations should go. So if anyone felt let down by the way we approached the subject last week, we do apologise for that. And we are always here to listen to your reactions. I hope I've been able to explain myself well enough now. Maybe not, but then, hopefully you get in touch and tell me why not, if that's the case. Did anyone else want to say?
Me personally, I just want to say sorry for my incredibly poor choice of words last week. It's certainly not my intention to upset or offend anyone. I can't tell you how careful we're trying to be every week to make sure we're inclusive and not saying the wrong thing. I certainly didn't intend to offend anyone with my poor choice of words. We're just trying to have that honest conversation on the air. And I'm trying to be better. Every week I'm still learning, I guess, how to deal with these things in a way that highlights the problem. And so I do apologise for my choice of words last week.
I think part of the problem with discussing this stuff is because the accusations at Ubisoft of because of the sheer volume of them, it's almost just in discussing it, you do forget that the individuals that have been affected by this, and that's not on, because you should you always have to bear in mind the effect that this has actually had on people, and especially there was another report this week. I don't know if it's in the doc or not, James, but stories about how employees at Ubisoft struggled to even get female characters in games. And so if you're one of these people who's but you can separate the art from the artist, can't you? And it's well, no, here are clear examples of the attitude at the studio affecting the work that gets done and affecting the people who are allowed to do what they want. And and I was saying last week about, I do still believe that you can still champion the good work done by people at Ubisoft who, either not involved or indeed who are, survivors of abuse. But also you have to mourn the things that, because of that abuse and because of that attitude in the studio, the things that don't happen, the people who don't get to do the work that they're capable of, and the ideas that aren't allowed to flourish. I think we haven't discussed the cost of it enough, have we? I think that's the problem. We've sort of we've said it's bad, and we've sort of gone back and forth on how we feel about how like what our relationship to Ubisoft the company is, but we haven't talked about the people involved. And so personally, I need to go away and spend more time on actually reading up on the allegations and the specifics of what has happened, because even though, like, obviously it's upsetting, but I sort of need to be upset by it, I think. Like, certainly people in our position, like, it's not enough to just be like, oh, bad things happened at Ubisoft, and just treat it as like a blanket thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess when you've, I mean, like, however small this platform is, we do have a platform, and I guess we should have, I mean, yeah, we should I guess, looked at it from the victim's point of view, and not just been like whole Ubisoft and games point of view. So, yeah.
Also, and can I just say something? And I know this probably sounds bad, and you don't want to hear it, right? But
Go on.
if you're listening to this and going, they didn't say anything wrong, why is everyone moaning? But just keep that to yourself. No one needs to hear that. You know what I mean? Seriously, you said nothing wrong last week, boys. Why are you? I don't need to hear it. I just don't need to hear it. Like, we've heard the feedback. I've listened, and I thought, actually, yeah, you got a fucking good point. I hope we make it clear. I hope we make our views clear this week. I don't need someone to go, you didn't say anything wrong, because I don't agree with you. So that's yeah. All right. James, sorry, was there, but are we moving on?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, as Sean said, the other thing that the report did highlight was, the issue of Ubisoft culture, sort of the reluctance to let you play as women, particularly like in their Assassin's Creed games, and it talks about this sort of pervasive sort of culture of machismo at Ubisoft, and it says the new claims include a reduction in screen time for Victorian London Assassin's Creed Syndicate co-star Evie, whose eventual role was made lesser in favour of her brother Jacob. The same happened in the ancient Egypt set Assassin's Creed Origins, where apparently the main character Bayek was going to be killed off, but then they scrapped that idea. And also the same happened again in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, when there was this pitch that Cassandra was going to be the only playable character, but then that was ditched to then give you the choice instead. And it's and also with Valhalla, apparently they've said that they focus mostly again on the male character rather than the female option was only seen as like a collector's edition action figure, which doesn't sound great. And they said that all the directives from this came from Ubisoft's marketing department, apparently. And again, this is all in the Bloomberg piece. It's it's just worth having a look.
But it just fucks me off because everyone loved Cassandra in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Yeah. Like, no one played as...
I heard loads of good stuff about that character, and not less about the other character.
Yeah. Which is like, and it's like, even if it wasn't, sexist the way they've been operating, it's just incorrect. Like, it's like, I don't know, it just does me in that this idea, like the fact that a company this big with a marketing department the size that it is still held this view that, oh no, people don't like playing as women, and presumably what they mean is like, oh, well, women don't play games. It's just the body of evidence that contradicts that now is just huge.
Even if you could work out some sort of fact sheet that said, oh, actually, in a percentage, these games sell, more if it's got a male lead character than a female lead character. Well, be the one that changes.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, it's money, right? Okay, it's bad or whatever, but be the one that fucking changes. Not only that, could you imagine working as a female in those studios and hearing shit like that?
Yeah.
Like, just how does that make your staff feel? Like, it is such a weird. It's something, again, it's something that I just can't relate to, and it just fucking flips my mind. I can't imagine looking at a game like The Last of Us and saying, you play as a what? Like, I can't, that does not compute in my fucking brain. Like, it's so bizarre.
Yeah.
But it's also suppressing
totally
when you've got,
Dave.
like...
I know what you said, Sean, but I don't doubt that the data did say that games with a male lead or male on the front cover sell better, but Ubisoft are big enough organisation to be that force of positive change in the industry to change that. I don't doubt that the data says that, but they are big enough to make things different.
But also, if they've got
absolutely.
like a creative vision that they want to stick to, they should do that. Not
you'd
just
think,
listen to
wouldn't you?
these numbers.
I think that's the problem, isn't it? That's where you get to the is games art thing, where it's like, is it or is it a business?
I feel like that's
there's
the case
several
with
different answers, but
so many things. Even sort of work I do, there's always like, we want to, people might say we want to do this and the other, but there's always numbers that say, well, you could, but actually the numbers say if you did this, financially this would happen. And there's always, with any sort of, business, there's always, okay, well, there's creativity versus actual revenue. And, for a company like Ubisoft, I guess obviously it's a successful business and they want to keep it that way and satisfy shareholders and whatnot. And so there's always a decision made between them two. And obviously, I guess in these decisions, it seems like, the revenue, the data and the revenue won out over any sort of creative vision.
Okay.
That sounded like you're just like, all right.
No. Sorry, no. I just think it was like, where do we go from here? It was one of those. Boring.
I suppose the only other thing I'd add is, again, if you're listening to this and thinking, yeah, but we got Cassandra in Odyssey in the end, didn't we? It's like, yeah, but people like that took so much work from so many developers to try and make that happen, and obviously they've been trying it for the last 3-4 Assassin's Creed games, and this is just like the one that finally got through after presumably shitloads of hard work and arguing.
Well, you remember the big argument about why are there no female lead characters in Assassin's Creed games? Because they walk in a different way.
So
the animation
too hard to animate.
Yeah. I mean, we went through that to get there.
Yeah.
And we still had to have a male character alongside her.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I'm not against the choice. I'm not against the
absolutely,
choice.
But yeah, it's like, but so what? If you're saying it's too hard to animate two different characters, then how about you just make a female one? Like, what?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, but we have to include a male one. We can't just...
Again, I'm not against choice of a lead character.
Oh yeah.
But if
that's
I think
the
that's
excuse,
interesting.
yeah.
But yeah, if it's it's just a bit.
I mean, how do we feel about, because Big Eve has been under pressure on this, hasn't he? He's been during conference calls and earnings calls and stuff. People have been asking him what he knew. And I mean, there's only two available answers, really, isn't there? Either he knew and didn't care, or he didn't know and he's incredibly incompetent. Sure. And either way, should he be there? Should he still be in that position? I don't think he should.
He absolutely should not be there.
It's a strange one. I'm glad people are asking him. Mm-hmm. I'm glad he is being pulled up on it, because you do wonder how often he's been pulled up on things throughout, through the years. And if people are asking questions, then, at least there are enough people out there that think that he should be questioned over this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, whether he should be there or not, I mean, you'd have to argue. I don't know what the argument is to say that he should be.
Yeah.
If you're not losing your job for this, as you say, if you didn't know anything about it, is your eye on what's going on in your business?
Yeah, I fully refuse to believe he didn't know anything about it. I mean, there's always talk or rumors or anything it could have been said that it could have made a difference or changed. I refuse to believe he heard nothing about anything.
Yeah, considering
and this is
how widespread it was.
Stuff as well.
Yeah.
This is horrific stuff.
Yeah.
It's just it's messed up. I don't know how Ubisoft recover. They've got a lot of work to do, and this work should have been done a long, long time ago. In the perfect world, you'd say, well, this should never have existed in the first place for them to have had to work on. But it has. That's where they are now, and it's I don't know how you recover from this, to be honest.
I mean, they're trying, right? They have made a start.
You'd hope so,
but it sounds it's one of those like this culture sounds so deep rooted that I don't like I say I don't know how you recover from it. But equally, they've got worldwide it's 180,000 employees.
Yeah,
and so many of those people will just want to crack on, right? And not and again, I'm talking people who've not been involved. I'm talking about survivors. But how many people have to be taken out of the equation to complete for a total clean slate? Given how endemic this stuff was, it's just. I mean, obviously, you would hope the answer is. Sorry, go on, James.
I see, because it's senior management seems to be the huge big problem here, and unless that is dealt with, then it will continue.
You get enough senior management that do think the right way to the point where the rest of the business follows. Because if any of this stuff comes up again, they're out. I'm not talking as a repeat offences. They should go immediately. Obviously, I'm just saying is that you need to change the culture from the top.
Yeah,
like that's how you do it. But yeah, I mean, it's going to take a long time.
That's where it comes down to
go.
Yves Guillemot, doesn't it? Is it credible for him to do that?
I think Sean's right.
But and equally, like if you say you've got a boss and they're a known shithead, maybe you've been on the receiving end of it, and then so new bosses come in at the top and there's new training, like HR start doing their jobs properly, all the rest of it, and okay, so overnight your boss changes and suddenly they're really nice. How do you begin to process that? Like how much of the change in their behaviour is legitimate?
These fucking allegations, though, it's not. They're gone. Re-education is a nice idea, but not within a business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's you're gone.
Yeah.
You can't get away with this shit.
Things, yeah.
Fuck's sake! All right.
Yeah. No. To be clear, I'm not saying. I agree with you. I just if there were people who. Yeah, if there were people who were, who just haven't quite got, say there wasn't enough evidence or whatever to fire them, for example, and they stuck around, but they did change, but you still have those memories of working with them and of them being a prick.
Of course you do.
And
of course you do.
So how do you can't get past that, can you?
No, you can't. Of course. I mean, it's only natural. You see that person, you think back to those confrontations. I mean, I've had fights at Christmas parties before. The rest of the time I've worked with those people, it's horrific.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's.
I mean, I still and not even anywhere near the scale of any of this stuff, but I have bosses who've treated me badly, and if I saw them in the street, I would tell them to go fuck themselves. No question. That animosity is still there.
Shit, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So imagine living in a culture like, or working in a culture like that, and then still seeing those people walking about the place. It's horrible.
Yeah,
it's horrible.
Yeah,
that's why they need to clean house, don't they? And get rid of these people. Yeah.
And sorry, I know we keep dragging this out. Some people might think, but those are all people who could make games, and that's all that talent goes to waste. It's no, the talent you should be worrying about is the talent that's already had to leave Ubisoft because they couldn't work under this environment.
100%. Yeah,
that's the real cost here. So yeah. Anyway, sorry. Let's move on. Is that? We all covered. We're all happy with that. Oh, not happy. I think what I mean?
No, I think we've got our points across. Yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, the other thing we reported last week was that Swery had fixed, in inverted commas, the problems with Deadly Premonition 2. So he came out and he says, I didn't change the important point of the story of this work, and I was able to make changes only where I wanted to make corrections. Therefore, I'm confident that fans who are worried that this fix may change the essence of the game will be reassured. And it seems that, I mean, the patch has come out, and it seems fixed a bunch of things, but then Laura Kate Dale noted on Twitter that it still features instances of incorrect pronouns outside of the sequences that Swery had talked about as well. And then, I mean, I saw a Twitter thread involving like Swery talking about this, and he was kind of saying he's not going to make any further changes, to this, and that anything else they're patching is going to be like performance issues and stuff. And it's not resolved. Like none of this really feels very resolved, and it just feels like this is a game that has issues. I think.
Do you want to continue streaming this, James?
I am much less keen on playing this now, given.
I don't think anyone's going to have a pop at you for not streaming it anymore.
Yeah.
It just feels dirty now, this game.
Yeah, I was going to say, it being shite was one thing, and now all this as well. I feel free to bin it, mate. I really wouldn't worry about it. It's frustrating because obviously, like last week, I was saying, like, good on him. Like he said sorry and he's going to fix it, and it's like that's all people are asking for. That's all people want. And what he's done is actually not really fixed it at all. Didn't he say, James? One of his tweets was like, "Oh no, there's this one bit of dead naming I can't remember if it was dead naming or
he's trying to make a point or something."
Yeah, he's like, "Oh no, he's trying to wind someone up." It's like, no, mate, that's and like, all right, maybe you'd have a point if it was like a character you're not supposed to like, but it's the main character, isn't it?
Yeah. That's where it becomes. And this character's already been sort of not hero worshipped, but like sort of it's got a cult following.
Exactly, like you can have a main character you're not supposed to like, but in this case, that's not what we've got, is it? It's
no.
So yeah, shame.
Why is that? Why is that the fucking hill to die on?
I know.
Why is that? I don't get it.
I'm sure that ultimately he probably will fix this, but I don't know.
It's too late. He's already made these points.
It is too late. Yeah,
it's
that's
so stupid. Like I don't mean so stupid. Keep that to yourself, mate. Like I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's like what is the brain like where you're going? No, this is the point I want to make.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
It's like, a marginalised group are asking for some basic fucking respect. Nah. Fucking hell.
Honestly, I've had these conversations with my dad as well, when he uses, like incorrect terms or whatever.
Yeah.
And I go, but if, like, your mate said, oh, can you call me Dave and not David? My name's Dave, it's not David, please call me Dave. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't think twice about just calling him Dave for the rest of the night.
Exactly.
So why is this any different? Yeah. Like, why is this the one that you want to... It blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand the mentality.
Yeah.
I'm not understanding a lot tonight, Sean.
No,
it's really having a hard time, mate.
There is an awful lot going on at the moment. It's
There is.
But these are all things that need to be dealt with.
Yep.
So it's okay, but on to other news. Rocket League is going free to play later this summer.
I mean, this seems very frivolous now, doesn't it? After discussion,
it really does. Yeah, I mean,
just imagine a line, and then we're outside. Okay, so sorry for the quick changes in tone.
Well, it was either this or it was another Anthem story. It's like it's difficult to know, where to, how to, where to go to.
I mean, I'm a massive Rocket League fan, Sean.
Yeah.
James. And I think this should have happened a while back, actually. But I'm glad it's finally happening. I think they're clearly setting their stall out for the next generation of consoles. In terms of they know that. I don't know. I think when people get their new consoles and they're looking at old games that they already own that they wouldn't mind playing again on their brand new console, not to show off the graphics or anything, but it's a game they're familiar with and they love and they want to, it's an opportunity to get people back into it and then hopefully get that to spread again by making it free to play. I think it's the right thing to do. I like what they've done with the Rocket Pass stuff. They put some really cool stuff in there. I'll admit the game really is struggling on the current machines at the moment, just in terms of the amount of stuff you accumulate, like the cosmetic stuff that you accumulate. It really struggles to load all that shit when you're going through your garage. I think this is probably the right move. I mean, it's clear that Epic probably thought that when they purchased them. I think it's the right thing for Rocket League.
Yeah, it makes absolute sense.
So
You're totally right. Yeah, like day one. I mean, like obviously it's got millions and millions and millions of players, and those will just download that game from the new stores on their new consoles. But to say also, that game that everyone's raving about, it's just free to play now. So day one, everyone on the new console playing Rocket League, it looking great. Yeah, it makes total sense. And I think they've probably looked at the numbers, and now after taking off the loot boxes, they probably think they've got as much as they can from the current setup, and it's now time to bring in a whole new set of players. The numbers will massively go up in terms of number of players because there's less friction, it being just free to download. And then so there are in-game microtransactions, I presume there must be, right? Or is it just
always happening?
There's a rocket pass, yeah.
Okay, rocket pass.
And you can also buy blueprints, which they got rid of the loot box stuff. It used to be you get a loot box, you pay for keys, and you might get something in that loot box that you want. And you could earn keys for free, or decoders as they called them, the free version. But they dropped that, and now you get a blueprint, and you pay to unlock that blueprint. So you're still earning an item that you have to pay to unlock, but you know what you're paying for now. So it's a better system.
Yeah. So numbers are going to explode, but with it being free, and then they'll have also those revenue streams within the game as well. So it'd be interesting to see what happens to the game as a result.
They're also adding other stuff, like it's going to have like cross-platform progression, like for like item inventories and
that's
really
great,
and all that kind of thing. And that's all going to be tied to an Epic Games account, because the only thing with this is that from the summer, new players or whatever won't be able to download the game from Steam anymore. It's only going to be on the Epic Games Store. Although if you've got the Steam version, it will still be supported with patches and future updates and stuff. But
so if anyone listening ever wants to play on Steam, buy it now, basically.
Yeah, because it'll be gone otherwise.
Well, don't buy it now. Just it's free, isn't it? Oh, it's not free. No,
that's our point.
Might as well just wait.
Well, yeah, but if you want to pay, if you don't want to use Epic, you want to pay on Steam, then
you'd rather pay for the game to not use it on the Epic Store. Why do people hate that so much? It's so weird.
I mean, yeah, but people have been using Steam for like 20 years or whatever it is. Like,
yeah, but you can still use Steam.
What?
Yeah, but it's just a pain in the arse.
They can't get it on Steam after the summer.
Yeah.
So.
Every time I remember there's a game I want to play and that it's on the Epic Store, I'm just like, oh, fuck's sake.
I've got to click another icon now. Fucking hell.
It's friction, mate. It's just a bit of friction. I don't need it.
I will say this, though. Download?
Yeah. If you've got an Xbox One S or a PS4, like a standard PS4, and you're upgrading to one of these new machines, you'll be surprised by how much 4K added to Rocket League makes a difference.
That was a massive difference when I got a PS4 Pro.
It's an eye-opener.
You can see the grass!
It's a big change. I mean, it's never going to look like truly incredible, but because it's been made to run on everything, but it's still, it's a massive upgrade. Especially, it's more that you can see in the distance and see what's going on right in front of goal.
See what's happening
the other end of the pitch. Yeah. All right.
I'm surprised they haven't put this game on mobile.
That's a good point.
How the
it's
fuck
not the most graphic game, and obviously a lot happens, but I reckon it will work really good with like touch controls.
I was going to say, I mean, like obviously the controls would be a difficulty, but then like we have loads of first and third person shooters on mobile that people insist are all right. So
but it's so precise. You're talking the driving left and right, that's fine. Brake, fine. Okay, handbrake, fine. Yeah. But then you've got a jump, a double jump, hold for the rocket, then to angle the car so that it boosts up in the right place.
Yeah,
gyro, mate.
Flip it forward. No way. Who plays like that? Who plays gyro games anymore? Sean, apparently.
We're going to get a lot of emails.
Just me, mate. I actually reinstalled Jet Car Stunts 2 for Isaac the other day because he's been wanting to play driving games on the iPad.
I've been meaning to check out. You heard about that game Timur Hussein was talking about on games on Giant Bomb the other day?
Oh, no, I didn't.
It's like a puzzle game, but it's all like those. When the iPhone, he described it as when the iPhone first came out, and you had all those apps like iPint. And I lightsabers
and Rolando, which I loved.
It's got all that sort of stuff in it. So I'll have to try and listen to Giant Bomb. Is what I'm saying. I can't be bothered to find it now. This might be really good.
I'm all right. I'm all right, mate.
James, next news story.
Do you want to hear what's going on with Anthem 2.0?
No.
Yes.
If it's a sizable update, definitely.
Well,
you didn't even play the game, Matt. We've been through this. Go on.
It's still happening. Christian Daly, who's the studio director at BioWare Austin, has shared some concept art of a new pirate faction that's coming to the game.
Wow. Oh, good.
They're called Pirates of Bloodwind.
Cool.
Which is
that was definitely why I didn't like the game. Not enough factions. They've nailed it. They've
Not
nailed the reason
pirates,
why no
mate.
one liked the game.
Not enough pirates.
Yeah. It was lacking that pirate faction, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They're also working on improving matchmaking and playing with friends, and they're looking at doing like looking for group system and stuff like that.
How about the game? Are they improving the game?
No. They also said that internally they've been having a lot of fun working on like battle royale and battlefield style experiments.
Fucking hell.
But they said that they're absolutely not the focus at the moment.
No, they can't
that's
be.
not happening.
How about you get 4 people playing together first before you start thinking about 100?
Yeah. I thought I was going to say, in the office having a lot of fun playing Destiny 2.
But so they said that competitive PvP is not the priority at the present. So, but there's also no news yet on when this is actually going to emerge.
Good
like this
Christ
update
alive.
or
How
but,
long are they going to get bankrolled? It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
And that's it. That's all I've got for the main news. And then other things happened.
Right. Are we ready? Ready to get into our Xbox portion of the show?
Let's do it.
Here's what we'll do. We'll list through the games. We'll talk about the ones we want to talk about. We won't talk about the ones we don't want to talk about. What did they call this? The Xbox Showcase?
Xbox Game Showcase.
Right, okay. Yeah. Xbox Game Showcase. Who's going to take us through? James? You can do this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they kicked off with Halo Infinite.
There was a pre-show.
Oh, no, we're not. Come on, Matt. Come on.
Well, no, they announced a few things in the pre-show. They did the Xbox ID stuff. That
should have been in the main show.
Well, I mean, we should get to this because there's a reason why it wasn't, right?
Do we know why wasn't it?
Well, because during the main show they said everything here is on Game Pass. I'm assuming some of those Xbox ID stuff weren't on Game Pass.
Yeah, you might be right.
We will definitely come to that. But yeah, I feel like that. What I thought that definitely should have been in it.
Yeah.
There's loads of cool stuff in it.
The new Yuji Naka game.
I mean, that looked awful.
It was a massive Sega game.
Awful. It looked awful, Sean. Awful.
Disagree.
It just looks so bad.
No, do you know what it is? Right, it's probably it could be terrible. Who knows? But just in terms of the aesthetic and stuff, like it's got that Sega DNA in it,
it's
and that's
pure Dreamcast.
Yeah, there's something about that I've missed.
Right,
yeah,
it made me go, oh yeah, I'm a little bit nostalgic for that, right? Like when I heard the music and I saw the character design, I was like, oh, I'm getting nostalgia here. I'm getting that night stuff, the Sega Saturn feeling coming through and that. And then I watched what was going on screen and just thought, fuck, this looks pure dung. Like, it looks awful. It's a train floating in the air. The music, we're all together now.
And then it was really Sonic Adventure, wasn't it?
Yeah, Dreamcast and Saturn music.
Did you see the character walking towards those doors? Like the clip of that, I just thought, oh my God, this looks so shit. Yes, it made me feel of the Sega Saturn. The Sega Saturn was a long time ago and it was very unsuccessful.
But it may have been unsuccessful, but boy, did it give me some feelings. And God knows
you're
what
going to sit and play that, are you, Matt? You're going to sit and play that game?
No,
he's never going to play that game.
Well then.
Shit.
Matt, you should have picked up the gauntlet. Then I would have loved that. Well, yeah, fuck you.
No,
I'm going to play it. It's going to be. I'm going to. Maybe
he doesn't
enjoy
buy
it.
anything Sega related. This isn't even Sega and he won't buy it. He's actually repulsed by Sega. At some point, something's going to click in your head and go, actually, I fucking hate Sega. I don't know why all my life I've been saying I love them.
Well, that's not the case.
I think it is. I mean,
you don't know me, Dave.
When was the last... I've known you for a long time. When was the last Sega thing that you really, really enjoyed?
Okay, right. Regardless
Sega
of what,
Rally.
But
the original.
Regardless of what I do or don't buy or play these days, that doesn't stop me having an amazingly, great feelings about the games I played when I was younger on the Master System, Mega Drive, Saturn, and Dreamcast.
Do you remember when you, Chet, and John come over my place and we played Mario Maker 1? And we played a really hard level and we realised that you had no way of playing Mario. You had no understanding of how to play a Mario game.
Because I didn't know Nintendo when
that's fine. I'm not taking a piss out of you for that, right?
But
I think at that moment you realised that you turned on Sega because everyone was having a great time playing Mario.
Sega.
Everyone was having a good time playing Mario. You didn't know there was a run button, right? And you thought, if only I wasn't wasn't taken in by Sega so much in my youth, I would be able to enjoy Mario. But now I can't. So then
I do enjoy Mario.
That just planted the seed of bitterness towards Sega in your head.
Now,
and now
this is all in your head, not my head.
I don't know. Oh, yeah, you're living there rent-free, right?
It would appear so, yeah. Anyway, there was some other stuff in the pre-show. Not a lot of super exciting stuff, but yeah, that idea Xbox trailer was really good. I do definitely wish it was in the main show, but as David just said, I think we know why it wasn't.
Yeah, I thought it was a Microsoft pre-show, but it was a Jeff Keighley pre-show.
And it was like a Summer Games Fest.
There is.
It was a Summer Games Fest pre-show because we did talks over and we had that on the Summer Game Fest YouTube. We never had to switch over to the official Xbox thing for the actual show. So yeah, originally I thought that was the Xbox pre-show, but no, it's just Jeff Keighley with some other influencers online.
Before we move on, I do want to say, if you didn't catch Jeff Keighley's presentation of the DualSense controller for the PS5, just watch it for 5 minutes. It's fucking hilarious. As he's really struggling to describe what the controller feels like, but not struggling, but like, how do you get that across in a video? Like, he was playing the the Little Big Planet thing that's coming out for it.
No.
Oh no, it wasn't. It was the Playroom thing.
Yeah.
And he was like, the characters walking on sand, and he was like, "Oh, the controller now feels a bit like sand," and then it like cut, and it was on ice. Oh,
it's very, very, very slippy.
Very smooth feeling now on the controller, and I was just like, right, I'm turning this off. This is insane. It's insane. Right. Microsoft, the main showcase. Let's get to it. James, let's walk us through it.
So they did. They kicked off with Halo Infinite. That was the first thing we got. We got like a big...
terrible, didn't it?
Well, I mean, see, I'll tell you what got me excited at the beginning though was that they showed like the title screen, and then it had like a press start or whatever to play demo, and there was that brief second of like maybe they're going to drop it now, like a demo of it, like so we could like have a go.
Oh yeah,
but no.
I didn't think of that. But were you like me? Were you watching that demo? You know, when the doors open up, like I was thinking at first, I thought, okay, the models look shit, but they might be stylized. Let's see what. Like, you take Reach for example. Reach was a very stylized looking game. Like, it didn't look ultra realistic, and it didn't need to. But Reach looked amazing when everything was popping off. When there was bullets flying everywhere. There was so many different colours of bullets flying in so many different directions that it just looked stunning while you were in battle, right? So I thought, when the doors open to this planet's going to look great, or whatever it is, whatever the location is, it's going to look fantastic, and it's all going to kick off and we're going to see everything. And it didn't. And I genuinely thought about 5 minutes into that gameplay demo, they were going to go, and that's what the game looks like on the Xbox One S. Now let's take a look and see what it looks like on the Series X. And we would have gone, oh my God, whoa, now I get it. Now I know why I need this new console. And it didn't do that. And then even then I thought, they ended that demo and I thought, okay, let's hear about the multiplayer. Hopefully everything's been put in the multiplayer. And they went, we'll talk about the multiplayer later. And then it moved on to the next game. And I just couldn't wrap my head around what I'd seen. I was so beyond disappointed because, as I said to you, James, imagine that was the best looking game you have ever seen. I still think I'd be disappointed because at the end of the day, Halo is not what it used to be. Halo has let us down a lot over the past few years, right? There's been a long time since the last good Halo game. They needed to step away from just bringing out another Halo game because another Halo game isn't good enough anymore. It needed to be something new, and it wasn't.
It was depressing how similar everything just looked and how familiar everything was, really, in a sense. And it looked like they've just thought, People love the silent cartographer. Let's just do that, like another one of those, and that's kind of
Dave,
in an open world.
I've always said, okay, what we want is them to go back to what made Halo good.
They've
really
done
great
that a
single player.
million times.
They do that every time. They say they're going to do that. They're like, we're going to go back to our roots.
That's what I said. So I didn't want something crazy new. I was more like a great, fantastic Halo single player campaign.
That's
obviously
fair.
multiplayer as well. And obviously the last one wasn't out. They tried to deviate with squad stuff and all sorts of bollocks. And so I wanted that. But
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Like my view on Halo is my view on Halo. There are people out there that want to go back to the feeling of that first game, and I think that's totally fine to feel like that. But then the disappointment then would come in how bad it looks, right? Graphically,
yeah,
it looks shocking.
We had that sort of initial sort of CG trailer. At that point, we're like, what is this game? And then obviously it's very, very, very evident very quickly. Like, okay, this is Halo. This like CG intro looked amazing. Then we saw that title screen. And I was like, oh my god! I was at fever pitch. Then here we go. And then the first thing you see after that is like this initial cutscene with Master Chief and that dude, the pilot, and they're sort of crashing on the planet. And right, basically. And a lot of people have said that this comparison is going to be unfair, but whatever. Obviously, we've all, apart from Sean, played Last of Us 2, and I was literally like, it looks nothing like as good as that. And all the comparisons or discourse has been last week, well, you can't really compare this as 60 frames, it's open world, we'll get onto that, but it's open world, 60 frames, you can't really compare a game like this to a single player linear narrative experience. And maybe, I believe that is the case, but even so, there's been lots of screenshots of Halo 4 looking amazing compared to what we saw.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that you can't compare them over is that The Last of Us is a game that aims for ultra realism, right? And Halo's never been that. Halo's always been a stylized looking game.
I guess, yeah.
But that's, as you say, the screenshots of Halo 4, Halo 5 compared to this was it's a total mess.
Well, yeah, but and if you want,
because of open world, but like that was a cutscene. Do you not think? Would it be a massive jump? Like the cutscene looked incredible, Last of Us 2 style, and then we went to the game, we're like, oh god, what the hell is this? Like, but
the cutscene didn't look that great either.
That's
what I'm saying. Instantly, I was like, oh god, oh no, because even now I was like, oh.
It was all in engine, wasn't it? It's not like it was a pre-rendered cutscene.
But what I'm saying is, people said you can't compare, a 30-frame linear narrative game like Last of Us to an open world game. But this was a cutscene. Could the cutscenes not look better? The cutscene is an open world. The cutscene's a cutscene.
No, that's what I mean. Is it might all be running in that. In order for that cutscene to play out, the world might have already been loaded in, and it might all be
what Sean is saying is that's not technically a cutscene.
Yeah. I think that is just a pre-animated thing. Like, obviously, it's a cutscene in terms of you don't have control over it, but that's still happening in the world. It's not like that scene ends and then it stops and then it loads the map in. But, like, if you want, I understand, like, comparing it to a linear game isn't fair. But then look at Ghost of Tsushima. Like, that is fucking stunning to look at. And I'm okay, maybe it's not like functionally open world in some of the ways that Halo will be, because Halo will be...
Well, we're hearing that it might not be that open world after all.
Oh, really? Okay, I was just saying...
They're all rumours, but yeah.
Okay, because obviously Halo will be like, theoretically, big maps, like lots of objectives dotted around and lots of clever AI stuff going on, whereas Ghost is very much like... you're only ever concerned with the 5 people who are stood near you, and then everything else is just kind of not really happening. So maybe there's more interesting stuff going on with Halo in terms of, obviously it's ranged combat and you've got hopefully like clever AI shit going on, but still, it's
like
not.
The only way that I think they could have got away with how it looked is if at some point Master Chief got on some sort of vehicle and flew up.
Yes.
And to another part of the Halo.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh, it looks a bit ropey because you can go anywhere on this Halo and it's all like there.
Yeah.
Like that makes sense now.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting idea. I'll be up for that. But it doesn't do that. Do you know what I mean? And I will say this as well, right? Because in the past 2 or 3 days, there's been a lot of defence from people that have been, coming from Microsoft, coming from, even Digital Foundry. If you watch that video, they were very generous towards this game in terms of, look, this looks flat because most of the game is played in shadow, and this is real-time rendering of light. And they're saying the good thing about Last of Us is that you can position the light where you want to give dramatic effects and show off the benefits of their lighting system, whereas you can't do that if you've got real-time rendering of light, and that's why things look a little bit, worse or whatever. And then I'd read articles and seen videos of people saying this is running on this specific PC build, which is not directly made to pre-render game videos and demos
that
and
makes
stuff like that.
absolutely no sense to me at all.
It makes no sense to me either. But say you take that all as golden, right? And all these excuses that are coming out are all true, right? It's unacceptable that this is the way we've seen it first.
Yeah.
This is how they've showed this off. This is their presentation to us. Halo is back. There's a new Halo game. This is one of our most important game series. Here's what you get to see, and it's got pop-up, it's got shit character models, and it looks like shit.
Yeah, the pop-in was insane.
Yeah, it's mental.
That was the first thing. I when we did the stream, I said early on, didn't I? It looks a bit plasticine-y, and then, but I was like, whatever. If that's a style that they've chosen to do, I might not like it, but whatever. And then it was the pop-in that really did me like. That just seems inexcusable.
Yeah, and
but you see,
on, James,
what they've done with this, as they've said, is that this is supposed to be like the last sort of game that they're going to release or whatever. They're just going to keep iterating it or whatever. This is going to come out probably in quite a broken state, I'd imagine, like when the Series X launches. But I think they probably don't think it matters because they think it's like a Sea of Thieves kind of thing, where it's just going to be, they're going to keep iterating on it and it'll eventually, like they said, they'll add ray tracing later and they're just going to, keep improving it. Probably like a year or 2 years down the line, it probably will be a very good game, by the time they finish with it. But it's clearly not ready yet. Like, it's clearly nowhere near
we don't know, do we?
what it should
and
be.
You can't do that with your big flagship, please buy a new console
but you can,
game.
and this is okay. You're going to not be happy about what I'm about to say with this, but this is one of the things that I'm less keen about with like first-party Microsoft games on Game Pass, and what this could mean in the future for this if they're going to start doing this a lot, like as in like just releasing something, like Sea of Thieves, like Halo, maybe in this state. We've no idea yet.
Yeah, I was going to say they haven't released it yet, so
no, we don't know yet, but. There's this temptation to just think, well, we're putting it out for free and, basically free, and we'll just keep on improving it over time. And those, like, tight, like, like, very polished, like, experiences that you get, sort of single-player experiences aren't going to matter anymore, really, because they're just going to release stuff in this way.
Forza destroys that theory.
It doesn't, though, because it's not coming out yet. And
but the Forza games they've released, what? Well, they released one Forza game directly onto Game Pass, and it was flawless.
When was that? Which one was that? That was Forza Horizon 4. Yeah, no, but I'm saying going forward now. I'm not talking about in the past, but there becomes a temptation.
But then you brought Sea of Thieves up.
What do you mean?
Well, you use Sea of Thieves as an example of this.
Yeah, but Sea of Thieves came after Forza Horizon, didn't it?
I think it did.
It's just what I'm saying. I'm not saying that every single game's. I'm not saying every single game is going to be like this, but there just feels like there's more of a temptation to just like release stuff as almost like in a games as a service way over a long period of time and just say, it's okay, we're releasing it now, it's not in a great state, it doesn't matter, it's going to get better.
Possibly.
Over time.
I think that's, possibly.
I mean, obviously, because like we've seen, like James says, with like Sea of Thieves has turned it around, and now that's a success story, which, good. But then, like, when Crackdown 3 came out, and we had this conversation at the time, didn't we? Is that, like, everyone was like, yeah, it's not brilliant, but, whatever, I didn't really pay for it. And it's like, yeah, but when this was meant to be one of the big exclusives, that's a shame.
Yeah.
And as you say, like, if you're working on a big first-party game for Microsoft, and, if you're having development troubles, whether or not anyone consciously makes this decision, obviously I would never know. But it's got to be in the back of your head that games have not gotten away with it, but they've, like you say, they've come out and they've either been improved upon, or even if they haven't, people have gone, it's a 7 out of 10. But it's kind of didn't have to pay 50 quid for it. So
I'm struggling to go along with this point because I don't think there's enough evidence to back up.
No, you're absolutely right. I can just imagine
that's why I'm
that thought just being in the back of their minds. Do you know what I mean?
That's why I'm not saying that this is what is happening. I'm saying it's possible that this could happen.
But I will say,
over a period
the example
of time.
of Crackdown was famously incredibly troubled development. Like at one point we weren't sure it was going to come out at all. Like that is incredibly different to Halo, where they can't afford for it to be it's a 7 out of 10.
Yeah. No, you're right.
They cannot afford for that to be the case.
And especially for this, to be the first thing that they show off, they know what a big deal this is.
Yeah.
So they.
I'd love to have been in the room when Phil Spencer
totally
first
baffling.
saw that. When he saw that for the first time, I can't imagine what was like the conversations, because they're not thick. They know how these things are going to be received.
Yeah.
They must have seen that and gone, people are going to tear this apart. Yeah. I mean, forget the graphics, right? Forget what style of game it is. Even the actual game, it just looked fucking boring. Like, they didn't show like these great big moments where everyone was shooting at each other and there's these massive battles or some, I mean, you want a really damning thing to say, and it's harsh to say this to Destiny 2 because it is incredible, right?
Yeah.
But look at the Destiny 2 trailer from that very showcase.
Yeah.
And compare it to this.
Blows Halo out of the water, doesn't it?
Night and day.
It's like you say,
that's
that
Destiny 2 thing.
Yeah.
And this game should have been the one which is there to absolutely demonstrate. I know, okay, we'll get onto this, like the whole idea about actually this was really a Game Pass showcase or whatever, but it's like this. They are also trying to sell a console here, and they're also trying to explain why the Series X is such a big deal, why you should go for it. That Halo should have been the game
you're jumping the gun, because I don't think they do think they're selling a console yet.
No.
I genuinely don't think they think
okay,
that.
we'll get on to that.
Yeah,
then they're mad.
Anyway,
if that's the case.
Let's do the games.
Let's just
let's
hot fire that
Halo stuff. But basically, the pop-in unforgivable. When we're replaying it, we did a talk over, and then I went back and replayed the trailer. There's loads of pop-in with fog. Maybe remove the fog. Do whatever you can to make sure there's not pop-in on a showcase for your new console.
Yes, run it on a fucking supercomputer if you have to, just to get that footage. And then
yeah, I did say in our WhatsApp, this is the one time I kind of wouldn't have minded if they had lied. If I had done a Ubisoft where they showed an incredible demo and there's a downgrade, something to really say this looks stunning as it is.
Oh, God.
It just looked.
I'd still love it though. I'd still love it though.
So terrible.
We know that they've got a presentation coming in August as well about the actual console, the lineup and stuff. I would still love it if they just turned around and went, so I hope you all enjoyed our Xbox One S showing of Halo Infinite, and then they pulled it out, because
no chance.
I'm not saying that's going to happen, right? There is no way I am saying that's going to happen, and I would even argue that was suicide to even consider that, right? If they did it, it would be a pretty bad thing to do, right? But could you imagine everything that comes out after that from games media, from the Twitter, everything would just be it would be chaos. Everyone would just be going nuts. It'd be so funny.
But also, this is also feels like this. One of the reasons that this game looks like this is probably because of the Xbox One and the fact that it has to run on that as well. And I don't know. I still see that whole strategy of saying everything's got to run on it as well.
No, that has to be a part of it. If they would
absolutely, it's got to be a part of it.
That affects PC gaming in the same way, does it?
What do you mean?
You don't have high end, great looking PC games that also run on weaker machines.
No, of course you do. But no, what I mean is in terms of design limitations or whatever, because they have to make sure that it can still run on Xbox One as well.
Exactly. So I mean, as I say, designing for PC games, you can scale them. That's what they should be doing. I don't see that as a.
But they're not. But they're not doing
reason.
that with other games, are they? Like Forza Motorsport, for example, is probably not coming to Xbox One.
No, that isn't.
That's only going to come to Series X and PC.
Right.
And so, this is the other thing that came out from this whole showcase as well, is they've really muddied the waters as well on what is going to work across all these platforms and what is not going to, because there was a lot of games that were shown that there's no release dates for, that they're kind of these are probably just coming to the Series X or whatever and PC later.
Shall we just do the games?
Yes.
And then we. And then we'll get on to the other stuff.
Yeah, basically the drop. So yeah, this happened. We're watching it, and from the first seconds, I was like, "Oh god!" And we all were. Certainly, us doing talk show, and most people were watching as well. And that sadly took me about halfway through the conference to sort of get over that in some aspects. So the first half of the showcase, I was watching it, but I was still
angry about
that Halo thing. It was like, I wish they had swapped this game with the game I showed at the end around, or this set the tone for me in a bad way straight away.
Ending with it, fucking hell.
That would have been worse. I think.
I mean, we'll have a thoughts later about what I thought about the show overall, but starting with this, it was like, whoa, like a stark knock back into reality, stark realization. Hang on, this is not good, and then that kind of muddied the waters, or colored my expectation for the first two games following that. And then by the second half, I think we had a bit stronger and stuff, but it was just such a bad start for me.
It's like what they showed. What they showed could be a fine game. It's just that with the pressure on it, fine isn't good enough, is it?
No,
that's the problem.
No. It could end up being an incredible game for all we know.
Yeah.
Right, it could end up being an incredible game for all we know. But this is the first time we saw it, and they blew it.
Yeah.
They blew that moment. I will say this: I watched the 4K demo. Right,
yeah.
It does look better. It did make me. It did give me that feeling of, oh yeah, Halo, because I we're not doing what you've been playing this week, but I've been playing a lot of Halo Master Chief Collection, and it's still fucking fun, and of course for the most part when it comes to Halo, a lot of it is the multiplayer, and we haven't even seen a glimpse of that. We have no idea what the multiplayer's like. And yeah, this could be that everything went wrong for this demo, and actually it turns out to be an amazing 10 out of 10. It does stuff in that campaign that blows people away. It could have all that stuff. What I'm saying...
It probably will in about 2 years' time.
What I'm saying is you had one chance to give that first impression, and you blew it so hard that it's like, fuck. It will always be tied to this first demo. It will be spoken about for a long time.
I mean, the memes were insane with with Craig the Brute and stuff. But and obviously a lot of people said, "Oh no, it's an old build." A lot of.
Then why did they show it?
Well, it's because I felt like they had to show something. But yeah, it's an old build, and things have come on, and obviously lots of optimizations happen in the latter stages. Obviously, as I think you said, James, about the ray tracing thing is coming after launch. That's a bit of a concern as well, because they kept saying, most powerful console, ray tracing, and actually the big game, ray tracing is not even coming at launch. Maybe that's why the lighting is so flat, because they couldn't get ray tracing to a stable enough position for it to work. Maybe with ray tracing or other lighting, it totally changes it, and okay, this does look stunning. I mean, I definitely agree, Dave. I watched, obviously the stream was 1080p 60. After that, I rewatched the 4K 60 version, and it looks like so much better. There's so many incredible details. You can even see sort of finger marks on the glass of the gun, and there's loads of lovely little touches. But fundamentally, the lighting feels weird, and it is
when he walks out and he looks up and sees about 4 birds flying overhead, and I thought Destiny was doing that on a fucking 360. Do you know what I mean? That's not impressive. Yeah. And when he gets to the top of that lift and the music kicks in, I was like, do you think this looks good then? Because I don't. A cloud just popped in.
The pop. Just do whatever you can to make that sure it doesn't happen, please.
And the one innovation was the grapple hook. I think that looked like, maybe there's other abilities, but that was all we saw. What a shame.
I just hope they've got a trick
later on
up their
Destiny
sleeve,
looks
man,
stunning.
because
Like,
if
holy
not,
shit, okay, this is what we want for these sorts of games. Anyway, we'll come on to that.
Yeah,
Halo Infinite,
game
what a
one.
way to start.
game 1,
10 to 11.
let's get to game 2. Of what did they show? Like 20
Okay.
games or some shit? So long podcast.
So what they showed next is we had like a bunch of games which were like sort of cutscenes, I guess, or whatever. First they showed like Rare's Everwild.
No,
which-
sorry, that was Forza.
Was it Forza?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. It was so they showed Forza
Now
Motorsport.
that looked good. Visually, that
yeah, it
looks
did look-
fucking stunning. And I think if you put that next to Gran Turismo, you can. Because I remember looking at Gran Turismo, I'm thinking this looks a bit weak. That
I'd
that
agree with
looked
that, yeah.
fantastic. I mean, it was always
the
going to look
difference
good.
was
The fucking current games.
Gran
look good,
Turismo
do
was
you know
in
what I mean?
game. This is pre-rendered cutscene.
I know, but
Also,
you know,
in engine,
In
whatever.
engine.
But
Yeah,
that
you-
was
and-
gameplay for Gran Turismo.
But you
so
know,
there was a
with Forza
difference.
games, they always look incredible. I mean, the current Forza Horizon 4 looks fucking stunning.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I've no doubt that a more focused game like Motorsport's going to look great.
And
They're also generally more fun, I would say.
What,
as well
Horizon
than Gran Turismo?
Oh, well, then Gran Turismo, yeah, I've not got any time for
I mean,
Gran
yeah,
Turismo.
so first of all, it's just Forza Motorsport. It's not like Forza 8 or whatever it is. It's just
Yeah.
Forza Motorsport.
Okay.
So I don't know. Like,
Yeah, more of a
I
game
presume
as
this will be
service
a
thing, yeah.
platform, maybe
Yep.
in inverted commas.
Yeah, 100%. That's what they're
So-
doing with all their games, man.
Yeah, which makes total sense. Yeah, that scene we saw, it wasn't pre-rendered, whatever it was, it looked incredible. And this is the first time, we saw at the bottom of the screen where it said, out for Series X and PC. There was no Xbox One. This is it straight away. We're like, okay, hang on. So this game must be at least 2 years away. Obviously,
Yeah, it's
Microsoft
definitely
said,
2 years
hey,
away.
the first 2 years we'll support Xbox One. These games will run on everything. And then second game into this, we're like, okay, so this game isn't going to be one of those games that runs on the original
This-
on the
this
Xbox
is-
One.
this-
That's
the-
why you like look at the list and it's just like you're just like you don't have to support Xbox One if no games come out.
This,
You know,
this
from it, it's fine.
is what surprised me. This was my main takeaway from this. When it come to Microsoft Studio games, I was surprised by how far away they were. You know what I mean?
Well, no, you can't be, surely. Well, they only acquired these in the last couple of years. Like,
Yeah, but hold on. You don't. I mean, yeah, they acquired them in the past couple of years, but they didn't immediately start. Like, they didn't scrap everything they were doing before they were acquired and started working straight. Like, you know what I mean? They didn't start new projects the day they were acquired.
They
No, but they
the
probably-
previous projects may have been built with like restricted budgets. Now we've got Microsoft money, new
Yeah, so
consoles.
they
may have
expand
said,
on
"Look,
that. But what I'm
And
saying
also
is,
like whatever strategies that Microsoft have got as well that they want this to do for whatever or
yes, fine.
Yes, I bet they probably
But
did
what
scrap
I'm saying
they had.
is that they have been working on stuff. There's no reason why they can't have games coming out next year. There's literally no reason for that.
Well, no,
Well, it just takes a long
that's
time, doesn't it?
bullshit. No, the reason is they've probably they got like, you would think more better financials now, a new platform holder, like new console. They're like, the sky's the limit. Microsoft bought these because they want to see these talented teams do whatever they can with see almost unlimited money. So it makes sense they would scrap and start again. Say what?
Yeah, but
given the
they've
budgets
also
now,
got
what
to.
can we
They've
do
also
that really
got to
blows
bring out
people away?
games. They've also got to bring out games in at a certain pace. They
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
just
and-
turn around and go,
honestly,
okay, do what you want
Dave.
for 5 years, and then
Yeah,
we'll
no,
see
but
where
no-
we are.
But no, I think
Do
they
you know
will.
what, though,
Obviously,
Dave?
Microsoft want games out now, but they bought the studios. They've got money. They've got new ideas, new vision. Like I didn't expect new games to come out in the next first 2 or 3 years.
So
I mean,
fuck it, don't
admittedly-
bring Halo out then.
I mean,
look at the state of it. Just say
Well,
that.
tell you
that's all
what.
I had.
This makes the conversations that we had after the PS5 one make a lot more sense to me now, Dave. That you said, because one of the things when we came out of that you said repeatedly is that like all the PlayStation games are miles off. They're not. We've got no release dates. We've got not whatever them. You were expecting, weren't you, that at this we were going to see loads of games that were coming out like kind of at launch, right, for Xbox?
Well, was I expecting to see loads of games coming out for launch at Xbox?
Or at least around like the launch window, should we call it?
I would expect
Or the first 2 years.
2 or 3. Yeah, I was expecting 2 or 3. Yeah,
Well, I'm sure we are getting 2 or 3
it
out
doesn't
of
look
this.
like I don't know.
No, I'm fairly
I don't
sure
know
we
if
are
we
getting
are.
2 or 3 out of all
because
these.
that was the
No,
thing
we're
with
not. The
Sony
only-
as
the
well.
only-
Because Sony, you're looking at the games they're releasing around launch window. I mean, again, we'll get to this.
We don't know.
Anyway,
but
Let's
yeah.
focus on the games.
Forza looked amazing, but obviously it's hard to really see because
It is way off. Yeah.
Yeah. Then they showed Everwild. So this is like Rare's game, which had an amazing looking
Yeah,
trailer, but
that looked
obviously
stunning.
It did look stunning.
but we have no idea what.
Well, yeah, so we have no idea what it is, and apparently Rare don't either just yet.
Oh, I've heard that.
Yeah.
Right? That's bollocks. I don't buy that for a second.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, I don't buy
why
any of
would
that
they say
shit
otherwise,
for a
though?
second. I don't. Did they say that?
Yeah.
Or was that
Yeah, there's an
rumour?
article saying that they're still sort of, what's
still
playing
working
around
out what
with
the game
ideas
is.
and so on and so
Yeah,
forth.
I'm sure they are playing around with ideas, but that's been portrayed as they don't know what the game is and they haven't decided what they're doing yet. Like, it's bollocks. It's bollocks.
It's not. I mean, this is not Anthem, is it? They probably just.
You can't get sucked in. You honestly think they put a trailer like that together and they don't have some idea of what they're doing with the game? Like, don't get me wrong, I think it is a way off. But
of course, I have some idea, but some idea is further out than I thought this game would be.
yeah, I
given
don't.
what I've
I
heard.
don't think it is, and I certainly don't think they're knocking around gameplay ideas as well. How I've heard it reported, that's nuts.
Either way, it just shows how good Rare's art department are.
Yeah,
Like, they are
100%.
in that short trailer was stunning. I'm really interested to see what that game is.
As
yeah,
you said,
looked
it was the
absolutely
tone
beautiful.
as well, wasn't it, Sean?
Mhm.
It was just,
Yeah.
it felt like it was different, and it gave you that this is a mystical world without feeling cliched.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah, it
exciting
felt
enough to
magical,
get excited
just-
about.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then we had State of Decay 3,
Oh, fucking hell.
which was
I can't.
which was just another pre-rendered trailer. I mean, which gave no indication whatsoever of what it would look like. or
the
anything at all. It's
animals
just a trailer.
and zombies now. I think I said.
I
to you.
mean, this trailer was clearly very Last of Us influenced, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, it showed it showed a woman walking through the forest, and it looked great. I was like, this has got Last of Us vibes already. And then,
when I saw that, I thought Matt was thinking of that the Initiative game that he said looks like Uncharted. I bet he was like, I thought, oh, Matt's got a fucking prediction right here. But I just thought, imagine playing State of Decay 1 and going, this has potential. Yeah, let's buy this studio. State of Decay 2 comes out. You go, oh no. What are we going to do with this
Wasn't that
studio
great?
now? Make a third one?
I mean, did they sort out State? I know State of Decay 2 launched in a bad way, but did they sort it? Is it on
I
Game
mean,
Pass?
No idea.
I would, yes,
I mean, it's fine. It's on
I
Game
would
Pass.
imagine
It's
it
free,
has been
and so
fixed.
they can just keep iterating on it until it's good.
Yeah.
Well, apparently not, because they're just gonna make a new one instead.
James
think
only
you
cares
said,
about day one
Sean,
these days.
like during the time, like the original plan, like I was into the idea of State of Decay before it was even fully announced, because I think there's like a piece in Edge or something I saw online about, it was like concept art and it's given this like MMO thing.
Yeah.
It sounded amazing. This is, well, I don't know. I think it feels like a long, long time ago. Obviously, State of Decay has been out for a fair while anyway. So I was like, wow, this sounds amazing. And they had like code names for the games. The first one will be this, but actually the second one will be this, and an MMO style game. And obviously we've seen the third one. We don't know what it is yet, but
If I get to play as that zombie deer, mate, I'm all over it. Forget about it. I'm all over that. A zombie giraffe.
yeah,
Give me
the
a
first
zombie
one-
giraffe. Giraffe.
Giraffe. The first one had loads of potential when it was shoddy as hell. Second one had potential, was shoddy as hell. Hopefully they're going to reach some sort of their potential.
Hopefully
in
they
this
get the
third one.
potential, but they drop the shoddy as hell bit.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
they've got a they've got. As Phil Spencer walked into the studio the day they acquired them, and he got a bit of chalk, went to the chalkboard and wrote potential tick. Shoddy as hell, and then he put a line through it, and he said, "Good luck," and walked out. They said, "When do you need the game by?" Doesn't matter. God.
It's fine. We'll just do some CGI trailers.
Yeah.
So Obsidian then showed off. It's called Avowed, right?
Yeah,
This
well,
is
yeah.
like a.
So
Well,
they start
they-
with the
they
Outer
showed the
Worlds
DLC
DLC.
first for the Outer
Yeah.
Worlds, didn't they?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then so this, I looked at this and thought you guys must be really excited for this, right?
Looks really cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
obviously,
I-
again,
It's one of
trailer
the best
doesn't
trailers.
show a huge amount, but yeah, it looks like a sort of first-person Elder Scrolls style RPG, but with Obsidian's writing and world building and stuff.
And it won't be
And
broken.
it might
either,
not be
which
broken.
would be nice.
I don't know.
And Elder Scrolls
Obsidian
6 is like 5+ years away, so this could do well in the short term.
It definitely looked like. Oh right, the Outer Worlds was that. and this is where the Microsoft money kicked in. Like, they're really going to put everything into this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I've got no interest, but okay.
No, look, cool.
No,
I think
yeah,
it's. I think
that was one of the best
people
trailers,
said
I think, for me.
it's technically set in the same world as the Pillars of Eternity games, which are. I mean, they're on consoles, but they're very sort of Dungeons and Dragons style point and clicky RPGs, but they're meant to be very good. So yeah.
See, when I went back and looked at a lot of this stuff again, this was one of the ones that stood out, because by the time that we got to this point, I was still kind of thinking about
Who
Halo
wasn't?
at this point.
Who wasn't?
But then when I watched it in isolation, I was like, yeah, I dig this. This is pretty good.
I had those enemies burn into my retinas for about half an hour afterwards. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw how rank they look. I closed my eyes and fog popped into my ears. Yeah, we were all shocked by the Halo. So we had some Halo shock.
But either way, this looked good, and I was impressed by this. Although, do we have any idea how far off it is?
Of course not.
Nah, no idea.
Okay. Okay, and then we had Tell Me Why, which is the Life is Strange. Don't nod.
It's fucking
exciting. Well, that's coming.
Have you seen the release schedule?
Yes,
it's every 2 weeks
nailed
or
it
some
finally.
shit. I fucking honestly,
Episodes
I can't wait
every
for this.
week.
And
It's only 3 episodes, but weekly episodes. Yeah,
perfect
wait
fit
for
for
that.
Game Pass as well.
Yep.
No more. Oh, do I get the full thing? Do I wait until it's all out? No, just download them when they pop up, and they'll pop up every week or every 2 weeks, whatever it was.
I think I think this will do really well because of that. Like, obviously, we've loved Life is Strange and to a lesser extent the Walking Dead games, but for a lot of those games, the distance, the gap between the episodes, kind of killed it for a lot of people, and there wasn't that sort of, it wasn't like the first Walking Dead series where everyone's talking about every episode. This being weekly and on Game Pass, I think that alone could do really, really well. The game itself as well looks really interesting. Obviously, a great developer as well. So, yes, was it August 27th, I think, is the first episode?
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
So a month today as we record this.
Did anyone else not think, like, why is this not a Life is Strange game? Because it seems to be a very, very similar thing with, slight paranormal elements.
I think if you were to genuinely ask me and I was to think about it, I think it's probably too soon after Life is Strange 2, and they've got Life is Strange 3. And if they oversaturate it, you see what happened to Telltale. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it needs to be an event when the third one comes out. If they just whacked that title and everything, then
I
think you never know. Like,
because obviously
this started out as a Life is Strange 2 thing, and they thought, it could start as a Life is Strange thing, and then they thought, it needs its own story. I think.
I wonder if because Don't own Life is Strange, do they? Square Enix do, because other devs have done. Because there's another dev that did Before the Storm, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
So
yeah.
I wonder if Microsoft just went to Don't Nod and just said, "Do us one of these, we'll pay for it."
Yeah, could have done.
So who knows? I mean, I'm not complaining at all. It looks really good.
It looks really interesting.
Then we also saw there's like multiplayer stuff for Tetris Effect, because that's coming like for Xbox. It's a Xbox timed exclusive, so that's good.
Yeah.
Just.
I mean, I'm not sure what sort of multiplayer, but there are big multiplayer elements, and those are coming to the other platforms later down the line. But
they are. I mean, had they said at this point that everything was coming out on Game Pass?
They said it repeatedly,
at this point,
over and over.
Yeah,
so
when Phil Houser said that, so everything we saw.
Because
when you think about the amount of stuff we saw, that is pretty exciting for Game Pass, right?
And I think they first said it after Halo, and I was like, oh, is that a clever? Well, Halo isn't, but everything else is. But no, Halo is as well, isn't it? So,
well, we knew Halo was going to be, didn't we?
Did we? Sorry,
everything
first party game, isn't it? So,
of course,
they've already announced that they're bringing all that stuff to Game Pass.
Of course.
Yep.
And then the big thing with this, which is really cool, like with the Game Pass thing, is Destiny 2, like that's going to it, and also the expansion, like Beyond Light.
Have you confirmed that the new expansion is definitely part of this Game Pass still?
Yeah, they said,
It is, yeah.
That's huge.
So basically, all new and past DLC.
Have you double checked that? Because
that was announced at a time.
Yep, no, it wasn't though. Because it was
on the screen.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, it was on screen. Okay,
Yeah.
because the bit where you all blew up and said she just said that the new expansion's part of Game Pass. She didn't say that at all. She said something like the expansions are included, or the current expansions are included. And you all started popping up because I watched your stream back, and I was like, she didn't say that. Oh, I hope that's actually true.
So also, as Watch Day was basically, I think this comes with 2 Game Pass in September, and at that point, all current at the time September and previous DLCs and expansions will be available with it, and in November, that new expansion Beyond Light will then also go to Game Pass.
Okay.
So yeah,
So this
that's really exciting.
I mean, it's insane and kind of damning of the rest of the conference in a way, but out of everything in the conference, this is what most made me think I might need a Series X, purely because this is going to really bring the fan base together, and obviously, if you guys are going to get back into it, I mean, Matt, I think you're already playing on Xbox, weren't you?
Yeah.
Obviously, if we're ever going to play this game together again, it's going to be on Xbox now. There's no question of that.
Yeah, definitely.
And okay, so I know it's this applies to Game Pass PC as well. They've confirmed that, but I've no idea how that works because Destiny 2 on PC is currently on Steam.
They confirm it's coming, but haven't confirmed when.
Yeah,
right?
Or how any of that works.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming it's not going to have cross-play with Xbox players, I imagine. So
I don't know because that's coming next year. They said. Probably.
Did they?
And I mean, and it has cross progression.
Yeah.
I mean, I think maybe what they'll do with this, maybe they'll release like a Game Pass version of Destiny 2 for PC, and then you'll be able to link that with your Steam one or whatever.
Yeah. So
I wonder how much this pissed Sony off.
The progression will link up, but it's that actual cross-play that would be nice.
I think they'll do that next year because they keep going on about that, and that'd be so good if they do that. Cause,
I do wonder how much this pissed Sony off. Like, if at all, it might not have, but they just got to the point where they've allowed cross-saving.
Yeah.
Where I transferred my PS4 character over to my Xbox this year.
Mm-hmm.
And they've just got that together, and now they're going, we've got this big thing on Game Pass now. I wonder if they'll do the same thing with PS Now.
Especially because Sony obviously paid them big money, or they paid them money for exclusive.
Yeah, but they got their exclusive content, so that's paid for. The PlayStation exclusive stuff in Destiny has never been anything to worry about. But yeah, point is, they've obviously had a cozy relationship with Sony in the past, and that is maybe over now. Well, I don't know. I mean, if they do this for PS Now as well, then fine. I'm sure.
Yeah, could do. Sorry, James, come on.
But that relationship was with Activision,
True.
not Bungie.
Yeah,
that's what they did with that, and
Bungie
now that's over.
Now, the money. If Microsoft said here loads of money, they'll do it.
Yeah. I think it's a good get.
Sure,
and as I said,
great,
I've been saying throughout the year, I wish there was a way to just go, boom, you've got everything. And now there's a way to go, boom, you've got everything.
And it's not even going to cost you anything.
Including that new thing. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Well, it's still £7 a month or whatever.
Yeah, but you were paying that anyway, So.
Yeah.
But for even forgetting that, the trailer looked incredible.
Yeah, it looked fucking great.
Especially compared to Halo.
Especially after Halo.
At the start, I was like, this looks amazing. And it looks so good. So
it really did.
Because we watched it and I said, is this Destiny? Because I couldn't believe it because it just looks incredible.
Yeah, it does look good.
It's very exciting because obviously the Xbox crowd of Destiny has obviously been way lower than the PlayStation one. Yeah. Obviously, not only because PlayStation was sold 50+ million extra consoles. So I wonder if this does actually do anything big to the numbers.
I think it's going to be interesting because there's already been a migration to the PC version just because it's as it currently stands, it's the only way you can play it in 60 frames. It's a much nicer way to play the game, no doubt. But obviously the new console versions, the new generation versions, they've said are all going to be 60 frames. So
4K 60, yeah.
Yeah, so I'd be happy.
Can you not play 60 frames on Stadia?
Maybe. I haven't checked.
Depends on your internet connection.
Well, yeah.
I mean, not yours, James, famously. This is Stadia's big exclusive gone. That's it. They got Destiny now.
Yeah, Jesus. Poor Stadia. It was doing so well up until now, and
it was, yeah. Nailed everything. Anyway, so then after that, then we had As Dusk Falls, which is this is like the first game from its former Quantic Dream staff, and that were working on this. And I mean, I thought this looked brilliant. I was quite excited.
I love the art
do you know what? I got. It's very, very strange. Like there's that thing where it's like, how comes everyone in games and media, film and TV, they all have a certain look? They don't quite look like normal people, do they? But this trailer, it was like non-stop normal people, and it just looked like that's like a bloke you would see in Tesco's. Like, that is the guy that they rob. They run into a shop and he puts his hands up. I was like, that looks like every game journalist I've ever met seen. It was just really strange watching all these very normal people in this game. Like, it was bizarre. But I mean, we don't even know what it's weird. I thought that was just like a concept art trailer, right?
No, I think that's how the game actually looks, isn't it?
No, sure, their games could look like that. There's no way that would just be a trailer and they'll go into something else. That's how the game.
Yeah, I
mean, there is a way that could.
It reminds me of like Hotel Dusk.
It did look very Hotel Dusk.
Why would that be insane?
I mean, for those who've not seen it, it's sort of hard to describe how it looks, but basically, it's lots of sort of really beautifully hand drawn characters, but moving. So, say if a character's walking across a room, there might be like 4 frames of them walking across, right? And they're sort of really sort of disjointed looking, but it's done on purpose. I thought it looked really nice. Maybe not everyone's cup of tea, but
yeah, I'm not totally convinced.
Yeah, I thought it looked gorgeous. Yeah,
I liked it. Yeah. Then we got The Medium, which is because it's Observer, isn't it?
Yeah, we've always seen this. Yeah,
like
the
Bloober,
Sony show. Was it?
Yeah, I think it was the Sony show. Yeah.
So we had that. Then we had
the big thing they
Stalker
showed off with this is that it's rendering 2 versions of the game at the same time.
That's right. Yeah.
So there's going to be a way of flipping between the two. One looks like a more reality-based game, and the other one looks like some sort of weird nightmare, didn't it? Yeah, it was strange.
Very silent.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably a Sony, or it was maybe like the Xbox third-party one. I think it was a Sony show, but yeah, this is definitely like a show of what next gen can do. But both of those worlds look really impressive. The fact it's rendering both at once, so you can quickly and easily sort of switch between them is really impressive. So,
well, Titanfall 2 did that. Just want to bring that out there.
I'm sure it did.
Exactly
but yeah, this you could see like this feels and looks like a next gen game.
Yeah,
probably too scary for me though.
Yeah, same.
Okay. Then we had Stalker 2.
Yeah. This is a surprise.
Looked nice. But
what's Stalker? I never played Stalker.
It was a PC game.
So I never played it.
Yeah. So it was about.
It looked. I was going to say it looked really good, but it's another one where then after it came out, there was like, oh, there's no release date on this. This is like, we don't know when this is coming.
So the original was a PC game, and it was all like I said, it was an open world first person shooter set in and around Chernobyl, and it was like, I mean, I never played it, but it was one of those that like was just incredibly intense and difficult to get your head around, but a certain subset of people, it's like their favorite fucking game ever. Just full of weird, interesting shit, and sort of way ahead of its time in a lot of ways. And as far as I'm aware, the team that made it like disbanded after it came out. I think maybe there was like one substantial update to it, and
are you implying that someone went to Microsoft and said, "Yeah, we did Stalker. Give us some money. We make Stalker 2."
Yeah, remember Stalker? We'll do another Stalker. So it seems they've reformed because it's under the same name, the name of the developer.
Right, okay.
So so I don't know if it's that they got the band back together or what. But it's interesting. Be interesting to see where it goes.
Stalker's always been like a game I've heard of, and it sounds exactly the sort of thing I'd be into. But it was I didn't have a PC at the time, or whatever. I never played it, so very interested to see what this is like. The trailer, the trailer looked fantastic.
Yeah, and
so,
it's
interested to know what it actually plays like.
When the first one came out, it was incredibly alienating and confusing, and tell you enough to work on. But of course, that's the name of the game now, isn't it? That's that people love that shit now. It'd be interesting to see if they make any sort of concessions to, quality of life stuff, or if it is just a really unapologetically difficult, weird game again. Don't know.
Okay, let's shoot through a few of these.
Okay, well, there's not much left. We had
two left.
We had there's Warhammer 40,000's Dark Tide, which is from the developer of Vermintide.
I mean, this could be really cool.
Space.
Yeah,
could be. Yeah, I mean, it certainly was more interesting to me than Vermintide ever was. So.
Then we had the Gunk.
Yes, this looked
which
good.
Is from
man.
SteamWorld developer.
You see the 4K version of this?
I haven't. No.
Wow, that's fucking good, man.
Yeah, I mean, this is really interesting. Just, I mean, because I really like the SteamWorld games anyway. I've still not played Quest, but really love the others. But obviously, they're all 2D, whereas this looked. I mean, well, it doesn't appear to be a SteamWorld game. All their games previously, they've all been different genres and stuff, but they've all been set in this one universe, whereas this appeared to be completely disconnected. And it's 3D, and it looks beautiful.
Yeah, it looks really good.
So yeah, very excited to see what this is about.
I think I'm missing in this list. There's also Psychonauts 2.
I was going to say, Psychonauts 2.
Was no mention of Psychonauts 2.
In James's defence, it's not in the article that he's
not
used as the source for this.
Oh, right, okay, fine. So Psychonauts 2 is coming to PlayStation as well, right?
I don't know. Is it? Because
wasn't this the one that was announced before?
I think it is coming to loads of platforms. Yeah.
Okay.
But also Game Pass.
I mean, it looked great. I don't know. I mean, I never played the first one. I know it's like well loved, so it's on Game Pass. So I might as well play it.
It is well loved, but I wouldn't recommend trying to play it now.
No, I've heard it's dated.
Yeah, sort of mechanically, it wasn't fantastic at the time. It very much felt like I think it was like the first Double Fine game, right? So it's like, it's Tim Schafer's new studio. We did all the point and click adventures, and it very much felt like the writing of a really good point and click adventure, but they had to make it a 3D platformer because it was 2005, whatever it was. So yeah,
ripping off Mario.
yeah, absolutely. So it felt like an uncomfortable fit. Whereas, hopefully they'll be a bit more sure about what they're doing this time. So yeah, I'm really excited.
Okay, the last thing they showed was the Fable reboot, which is Playground Games. I mean, it's been rumoured for ages, but they showed a teaser trailer. No gameplay.
Perfect teaser trailer, though. Fucking loved it.
It was a good teaser, yeah. But there's no indication of when this is actually coming or anything.
We don't know anything about it, but we do know that clearly they're keeping the humour because there was a great gag in there.
Yep.
It would appear that they're going to change the art style a little bit because Fable Games had a very distinct art style, and the CGI in this was totally far removed from that, wasn't it?
Do you reckon? I thought maybe I'm misremembering now. I thought it just looked pretty not standard, but very nice fantasy world.
Wasn't it like big heads and
character
big hands
and stuff. Yeah, but we haven't seen any character models though, so you never know.
Well, we saw the little fairy thing.
Yeah, and a frog.
Which
looked like every fairy I've ever met in real life.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, but also but Fable 2 and Fable 3, their CGI trailers didn't look anything like the actual game.
Oh, see, I didn't go back and look at them.
That's true.
But that was Molyneux, though. You got to remember that nothing about the pre-released information about those games ended up being in the final thing. So,
this is what's going to be fascinating because always been a big Fable fan. I mean, Fable 3. Probably not the developer's fault, but it was released, very unfinished. But that Molyneux factor is like, well, let's see what Fable game looks like without that. Like, maybe some of the magic will be missing. Who knows? But then maybe the developers won't have to contend with him just constantly making mad decisions.
Say what you want about Molyneux and Fable and the lies and stuff, but would that series be successful without his wacky ideas being flung in?
Yeah, maybe not.
The good thing about Fable is that it was trying new things all the way through, really, wasn't it?
Yeah,
not all of it landed, but the stuff that did was good.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, I mean, literally.
And we like Turn 10, so it'd be really interesting.
Have you done that on purpose, Dave?
Intentional, yes.
Okay, good. Just checking.
Sure.
Like just the fact that it's Playground doing it, I'm ecstatic. I cannot wait.
Get me in that recording booth. You need a Cockney.
Yeah, get some
somewhere.
regional accents. We've
Get some regional
I'll voice a peasant.
Get me in there. And I'm not going to be one of those people that say, I can't review this game because I know I've got no intention of doing that. I will come out and say it's the best. Just get me in that recording booth. I'm cheaper than you think. Go on.
Regarding the fact Fable ended it, it was like, we all knew that it was heavily rumoured. And so there was a very, very high chance of this trailer being there. So part of me was a little bit disappointed it ended with that because it was a known quantity in some ways.
Yeah, it was just confirmation.
It would be nice to end with something that we had no idea. Like when it got towards the end, we're like, well, this has to be Fable now. And it was. I wonder what we would feel like if it started the whole conference with Fable, ended with Halo. Forgetting what we thought about Halo, but if it started with Fable, like, for sure, okay, this is
I think really
exciting
would have
and
done
interesting.
better because we wouldn't have had to recover from Halo. Do
Yeah,
you know what I
very
mean?
true.
We wouldn't have had to sort of gather our shit back up together throughout the presentation of the other games.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it had started with Fable and ended with Halo, that would have made a big difference, I think.
So they said at the start of this that they're only showing 9 of the 15 studios. And so obviously, and I can't remember the actual words they use, but obviously we're going to have another one of these, another show before.
More of these.
Well, I mean, this was a bit naughty, wasn't it? Yeah,
More of these. Got plenty more of these.
They started off, look, here's all our developers, aren't they great? And we were like, oh my God, we're going to see stuff from all of them. And then at the end, they went, you've probably noticed you haven't seen stuff from all of them. Well,
no, actually, I think they did say at the beginning, actually.
Oh, did they?
I misheard, but I think they did say, today you're going to hear from 9 of the 15 developers. But
Yeah,
I was
they did
just
say that.
excited.
Fair
About,
enough.
look at all these developers.
You know,
I didn't actually listen to what they said.
Yeah,
and this is right. Okay, so they're the games. And this is the kind of thought process I've been having since. I don't think neither Sony or Microsoft have sold a console yet. Like, I certainly don't feel the need to buy either of these systems based on what we've seen so far. I've no interest in getting a Series X at this point. I've no interest in getting a PS5 at this point. I think there's a big presentation from from both of them that needs to happen. Obviously, we don't know what the PS5 can do. We don't know. We don't know anything about it, really. We've seen games that are coming to it. Some look good, but we don't know release dates. We don't know a launch lineup. We don't know the price. We don't know any of that. Same with Microsoft. We don't know any of that stuff for the Series X either. I think we've got a fairer idea of Microsoft because we know that they're not going to take this big leap, like in terms of UI and the way the thing works, right? We're expecting it to be pretty much like the Series X, but faster, snappier, can do a few more things, right? Whereas the PS5 is even more alien. We don't know what they're doing with that and how that's all going to be put together. I think if you look at the way they're trying to sell you these consoles, I genuinely don't think they've sold you these consoles yet. And I don't think they feel like they've started that process, even though naturally they have, because they're talking about games in a year that are coming out. They're talking about games that are coming out for these next-gen consoles. Neither of them have taken this stance of selling you the console yet.
Yeah.
We still don't know the fucking price. I think next month we're going to get a presentation. Sorry?
We don't know the release date either.
No, we don't know the release date either. I think next month we're going to get a conference from both of them. And that is when they feel that they're going to start to sell you this console. They're going to say, this is why you need to upgrade. This is what's coming out. Here's how much it's going to cost. I mean, we can sit here for hours and talk about strategies. I mean, we have done in WhatsApp. You know, I hate saying that on the show. I know it's annoying, but this is, just the conversations we've had have very much been who's in a better position at the moment. I think we're jumping the gun on it a little bit. I think if you look at the presentation Microsoft put out or Xbox put out last week, I think it was massively disappointing in a lot of ways. I think if you change the name of it, instead of Xbox Showcase, the Game Pass Showcase, it reframes the whole thing completely and suddenly becomes exciting. And suddenly you get what they were showing you in every way apart from Halo Infinite, which is still fucking baffling. Like, nothing takes that away. But if you look at that as a Game Pass showcase, what I'm saying is I think their messaging is fucking shit. Like, I'm not saying that we're thinking the wrong way. I don't think we're thinking that. I'm not thinking, hey, think about it this way, guys. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that I think their messaging at this point, if they'd have said 2 months ago, next month we've got a Game Pass showcase, and in August we've got the Series X presentation, then that conference makes so much more sense. But the problem is we're going into that thinking this is them selling us next gen. And they failed on every level to do that, because most of the games they showed are probably not coming out this year. Most of the games they showed didn't look of next gen quality. There wasn't that big leap in graphics. Certainly not compared to, say, Horizon that Sony showed. I think just naming it an Xbox showcase was a massive mistake, because it's just such a confusing message out there that I'm not putting that on us or consumers. I'm putting that on them. They teed this up. They framed it incorrectly, in my opinion.
Do you know, I'm really disappointed, David.
Go on.
Because I agree with everything you've just said.
So why is that disappointing? Why is that disappointing?
No, because I was expecting to have an argument with you about this.
I hate getting on with people. It's shit, innit?
No, do you know why? Do you know why that is, James? Because I'm not in a console war, and you are. You want to have a console war.
I don't want to have a console war with you. I'm just saying. I completely agree with everything you've just said, and I don't think. Although, you see, I would say that I saw more things at the PS5 thing that I'm interested in, but still not enough there that would make you think any of these are essential at all.
Even if you take that essential thing away from it, you're in a position where you want to buy a PS5. I know you do, right?
Yeah,
you want to buy a PS5 day one. You don't know what you're getting. You don't know what the launch games are.
Which is
you don't. If you look, Horizon looks great. That ain't coming out this year. So what are you buying that PS5 for? Say the PS5 comes out for £500. What the fuck are you buying it for?
Well, exactly, but then you could say the same thing about the Series X as well.
Exactly.
What are you buying that for?
But it's a little bit different with that, because if you've got Game Pass, there are lots of things.
But there's no fucking games that are coming out this year that are going to do that.
Look, what James is saying, yes, Game Pass is great, right? But I've got a One X. Why should I upgrade to a Series X? They haven't shown me yet, and nothing in this show.
I fully agree there.
Nothing. I didn't look at anything in this show that I didn't think that the Series X could handle. Now, that's not to say that that's not going to happen next month. If next month they put a good presentation out that says this is what this does that your current console doesn't, then I'll think. Then my attitude changes. It goes, you know what? I'm paid up to Game Pass till next year. Of course, I want to play games looking as good as they possibly can. If it's £400, I might be interested in upgrading to the latest console to play those games as best as they possibly can.
Do you not think they've tried to do that with like the other videos, which haven't sort of been? They're in the ones on like the Xbox Wire where they had a few like side by side loading videos. They had
not really. They haven't had the proper presentation yet, and I think in their head. They're gearing people up to buy a console from next month. But that's not the case. That's not the case. They've got that wrong. Sorry, I just banged my mic. People are already interested in what you're selling us. And you can't keep putting that off. Like, we need to know now. We need to make decisions now. Previous generations, we'd already made these decisions. Now. Yes, we do.
No,
because people need to save up for these consoles.
Or yesterday or tomorrow.
Yes, they do. They need to save up for these consoles.
When they're releasing out states and like pricing. So
I know, but we need as much time as we can to make sure. If they say £500, not everyone can knock that up right away, can they? You know what I mean?
No, but you're not going to say, people know it's going to be expensive. So it's not like, well, it's £500. I better start saving this second, shall I? No, like obviously, if you want this, people will still start saving now. I don't need to know the day before. Suddenly means think, fuck, I need £500 now because you didn't mention it a day before.
Okay, if that's the case, how comes every other generation has been earlier than this, and how comes mobile phones do it, nice and early? It's
well,
it's a shorter for
iPhone
mobile
announces
phones, isn't
a
it?
phone, and then it's out 10 days later.
Yeah, no, that's true. That doesn't work.
So you got that one wrong. But no, I mean, like, we know they're going to be expensive. But I do fully agree that they haven't sold the console yet. Absolutely, fully agree.
I
mean,
sorry, James.
You can say that Microsoft have sold Game Pass. Yeah, they've definitely done that, and that there will be games coming. But then, as I said, the games that I saw on Game Pass during that event. None of those that I'm interested in are coming out anytime soon.
No, but there's still
going to be other games coming out between. Is that what you're saying?
There
are, but you see, but this is the other thing that I wanted to talk about with this, because a lot of this is also personal preference, and one of the reasons why I don't get very excited about Game Pass stuff is because
it's on Xbox.
This is what's annoying. Just let me explain, okay? A lot of the games that I like to play, particularly like indie games and stuff, I like to play on Switch. Like, I really do, because I like being able to like play wherever I want to, and like, the TV's being used by other people, that kind of thing. So having indie games and stuff on Switch is no draw to me. On Game Pass is virtually no draw to me. I don't care.
Well, no, it's no draw to you, James, because you haven't got an Xbox. That's why it's no draw.
But he's talking about the portability.
If you had a console.
No, I'm talking about portability, David, not about anything to do with like
James,
whether it's an Xbox
you
or whatever.
sat and you played through The Last of Us 2 in 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, I know. But that's like, exactly, but I'm going to do that for something which is like some massive experience like that. If I'm playing like other games that are like smaller games or shorter games, I like to be able to play handheld. What's wrong with that?
But what I'm saying is that you're getting game time in front of the TV, so it's not that the TV's being used, is it? If you were to sit down, if you had a really decent console under your telly where you could play those indie games on a big screen,
I'd still rather be able to play them on Switch as well. Honestly, it's the reason why I love that console so much.
Extra to play them on the Switch over than the Game Pass.
Sometimes I'd rather pay so that I can play them portably. It is something that
I'm fully with you there. I know for a fact if there's a game I like and it is on Switch, I know I'll be able to play it way more on Switch. Yeah. So but for those big console games like Last of Us or any other sort of huge games you really want to see on the TV, then that's what the consoles are for. But no, I fully get what James is saying. I would pay for a game or pay extra for a game if it was on Switch because I know I'll be able to get more time with it.
I wouldn't. I mean, you look at Carrion. I wish we could talk about it this week because I'm really excited by that game. But just sitting and playing that on the Xbox has been great, and it's just been included in my Game Passes.
Yeah, but with the Switch, I can do both. I can play it on my TV if I want, or I can play it anywhere else.
Yeah, I suppose so.
That's why I like it.
With Animal Crossing, I know for a fact, if the Switch was like a docked console only, I would not have played anywhere near the amount of hours I would be able to play in that, or like other things like Stardew Valley and My Time with Portia and other games. There's the Switch is, and this isn't a Switch discussion really, but this is why we all love the Switch because I get it for that.
But for a 2-hour experience that you've already bought, like you already own, you've got Game Pass, James. You just need something to play it on.
Play it on Switch. I know, but I still would rather play it on Switch. I'm sorry, I just would.
Okay,
I'd rather have the flexibility of being able to play anywhere.
Okay.
With certain games.
So you're not excited for Xbox because of that? Is that what you're saying?
No, no. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that like the draw of Game Pass is not so strong for me because for indie games and stuff, I'd rather play them on Switch. And Microsoft's first-party games do not really interest me that much. Like they haven't released anything this generation that has been. They've released stuff maybe that's been good, but they've not released anything that's been great.
Forza,
like anything that's been. Yeah, but I don't play Forza.
Right, okay, that's but that statement's incorrect then, isn't it? Because that's one of the best racing games out there.
Okay, for me, they haven't released anything that I want to play that I think is that is outstanding, like first party. There's no way that you can say that Microsoft stuff that they've released this generation has been anywhere near as good as Sony's.
No one said that.
No one's ever said that.
Exactly.
No one's saying that.
So what I'm saying is that this is why Game Pass to me is not such a draw because for a lot of games I prefer to play them on Switch, and then for first party stuff, their stuff doesn't really interest me because it hasn't been very good like the whole time. So that's why I don't get really excited about Game Pass. Sorry, I just don't.
But I think you're mad because there's so much good stuff on there. There is it's not just about the first party stuff. It's what.
No, but a lot of that stuff is also on PlayStation Now, which I paid like 40 quid or whatever for, and I can play that stuff on there.
Yeah,
if I want
is it going to continue to come out on PlayStation Now when the PS5's out?
I don't know.
That's the question.
I don't know.
We know for a fact that's going to happen for for the Xbox One.
Microsoft actually talk about stuff that is coming to Game Pass in future, whereas Sony just.
Well, this is it. This is the other thing. When I was looking around discussions for this conversation, for this presentation, it was like people were saying, "Well, I mean, this isn't really. Why am I buying a Series X for this?" No, they're talking about games that are coming out in August for it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's this before the Series X. This isn't about the Series X right now. This is about Game Pass, and that's where they fucked up. Their messaging's just been dog shit. Like they haven't been clear enough with what they're showing you.
But I don't believe that to be the case either. I believe it's called the Xbox Game Showcase. We saw Xbox games like this. But this needed to actually sell us a console. This wasn't called the Xbox Console Showcase. And we're like, well, what is games on Game Pass? They showed us the games. We saw the games. But the games aren't enough right now to sell us why we need the console because of Microsoft's strategy that the games work on every console.
Did you go into this console expecting to see why you wanted to buy a Series X?
Yes, but I expected the games to do that. We knew it wasn't going to hear anything else. I thought, okay, I want to see these games that get sold on a console. I don't think that's about the messaging.
Well, of course that's about the messaging. If you went into this conference thinking,
that's our perception.
Show me what the Series X can do. Yes, our perception from their messaging, Matt. Where do you think we got that perception from?
We saw that.
Where do you think we got that perception from?
Whether they failed or not doesn't mean that their messaging was here's Xbox games, right? That's what the messaging was. Here's Xbox games.
Yes, here's Xbox games in the lead up to the launch of their new console.
Yeah.
Right. So naturally, we went into it thinking, okay, let's see these new shiny games coming out for this new console. Let's see how good this looks.
Yeah.
Definitely. I went into this thinking we're going to see Series X games. That's what I thought we were going to see.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely, yeah.
So surely that's fucked up the messaging, right?
Well, no, I think it's their strategy is fucked up. The messaging is here's Xbox games, but we always knew they would have to work on both Series X and Xbox One.
No, but they were showing us games that are coming out before the Series X even comes out, Matt. That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of those sort of, what was confusing.
Quite a few of those. You think we saw Tell Me Lies, is it? We saw Tell Me Lies. Tell Me Why. That's August. We got Destiny stuff. That's August. It's games that they should have been clear. This is a Game Pass showcase. Next month,
and I fully agree with you there.
We've got the Series
Absolutely.
X. So that's their messaging. That's where they.
Well, it's Xbox games. I mean, yes, it would have been better if it's Xbox get a Game Pass showcase. Absolutely, but it doesn't mean it's confusing messaging. It means I don't know. I don't. The messaging was his Xbox games. It was disappointing massively. Could they change things? Yes, but this didn't sell the console. Absolutely not.
Then surely.
But confusing messaging implies they said something that doesn't quite make sense. What they said was, here's Xbox games.
No, confusing messaging can also be that I haven't said enough to make things clear.
Haven't said enough to make... Okay. Haven't said enough to make things clear is different, though. Then confusing messaging is saying one thing about me and something else. You're saying they haven't said enough, which is different.
I'm confused as to what's going on.
Yeah.
So
Anyways, but yeah.
I don't understand. The messaging isn't just what you've said; it's what you don't say as well. You haven't put that message across to the consumer of what to expect from this showcase.
Well, no, they have. The message was his Xbox games.
Okay.
Did they show them?
We're not going to agree on this because I thought.
No, but did they show Xbox games, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It was Xbox Game Showcase.
Yeah, but you're taking it out of the context of a build-up to the launch of a new console. If you take it out of that context, then fine. If they did that 2 years ago, I'd agree with you. But they're not. The timing is part of their messaging. Yes, they should have improved things.
done things differently. But the messaging was his Xbox games. It's not that. It's just strategy that's like kind of not as exciting because we know games aren't going to look incredible because they've got to allow for their lower consoles and whatnot. Like, and should it have been Game Pass showcase? Arguably, was it exciting?
100% yes.
Did this make people want to get an Xbox Series X? No, no, absolutely not.
Does it make you want to get Game Pass? Yes. Why? Because they said all the games you see here are going to be straight to Game Pass. Like that. Yeah. I mean,
but if you don't own an Xbox already and you don't have Game Pass, does it make you want to buy an Xbox? So that you can get Game Pass?
Funnily enough, Jack Barlow has written in. He says, "Hi lads, really enjoyed the Xbox talks over the other night, and I agree with you that parts of it were slightly underwhelming. However, despite not being blown away, I found myself surprisingly convinced that I would be pre-ordering a Series X for launch, a notion that seemed incredibly unlikely when I woke up that morning. See, I've never owned an Xbox. I've always been keen to eventually play the Halo, Gears and Forza games, etc., but never enough to drop hundreds on a console, and perhaps the same again catching up on all the games. The Game Pass Ultimate deal strikes me as phenomenal value for money for someone like me. I'd have no qualms dropping £500 on the new hardware, considering it comes with a massive library of brand new games and most of the ones I've missed for less than the monthly cost of my Netflix account. Sony would have to do a hell of a lot now to win over this former PlayStation loyalist. I would still eventually get a PS5 for those Sony exclusives, but surely the big hitters are all years away, considering so many of them have only recently released games. With Game Pass keeping me busy, I'd happily wait a few years for a cheaper PS5 and those games to climb down from this rumoured £80 price tag." I think that's a good point.
And not only that, you might not need a Series X. If the rumours about the sort of the Series S, if you want to call it that, to be believed, then I mean,
might be enough. Yeah,
that might be enough for you.
Yeah. Well, this is what I was saying. Like, if I see, I've got no problem at all with like the whole Xbox kind of thing and being, getting Game Pass. I think Game Pass is a great idea. It's just, I mean, as you know, the console I've got is crap. And if there is a chance, if there's like a Series S or whatever and it's cheap, absolutely I'll buy one, like straight away.
And that's all they need from you.
It'd be good.
There's a lot of people out there saying, "Well, I'm definitely not getting a Series X, but I can play all these on my PC." Yet you're still going to be paying that monthly charge for Game Pass. Now, that's what they want from you. It's a different way of succeeding. It's a different strategy. It's not necessarily going to succeed, but I mean, as I said, if I was to buy a new console this year, I think personally, unless they do something utterly insane in August, I can't see myself spending out on a new console. I think my Series X, my Xbox One X is totally fine. It would appear that it will play games.
You just said if I had to. So if you had to, you wouldn't. So, but if you had to, you just said if I had to buy a new console, I wouldn't.
Oh, right. Well, sorry, I misspoke. My messaging was bad.
It happens to us all, mate.
No, what I'm saying is that if I probably wouldn't buy a new console based on what I've seen so far, because the games that they showed seem to be able to run on my One X. But if you've got a One S, or if you've got an original Xbox and you're thinking about buying a console at the end of the year,
or no Xbox,
sorry, or no Xbox,
or no
okay,
Xbox at all,
and you're thinking about buying a console at the end of the year, you're looking at what sounds like a high price point for the PS5, plus then you've got to add on top of that games individually to play on it, which are probably going to be about 50, 60 quid each. Or you're looking at the potentially cheaper Series X or Series S, if you want to go that much cheaper, if this is all true, and you've also got that £7 a month Game Pass, then
again, if it has games though that you actually want to play,
I'd be surprised if you look at that and you don't find games you want to play.
No, there's stuff there, but this is the other thing. Is like I really like Japanese games, and there's not hardly any of those.
Yeah, but that's fine. There's no Nintendo games on Game Pass either.
Mate. Oh, we skipped that.
Oh yeah, it's Dragon Quest. Yeah,
in the interest of balance, like there is going to be a cheaper, what we assume is a cheaper digital PS5. You can get PlayStation Now. There is but
it's the same spec as the PS5, so in terms of.
See, the thing is we have no idea how much any of these machines are going to cost.
That's
we're assuming an awful lot
£900
at the moment.
And that's an important part of all this process as well, isn't it?
Absolutely it is, yeah.
The thing that, I watched it, I was disappointed, and we knew Microsoft was going for a different strategy. We knew they want people to be on Game Pass and their services. We've said, and I guess Microsoft have said in recent months, that it feels like it's not as key to get the console. They just want people to be in the ecosystem. But but having said that, all that time, I still always thought, well, Microsoft's buying studios, and this may still happen, but in my mind, I'm always thinking Microsoft want to, do what Sony have done. They want to have these big, huge tentpole releases like The Last of Us, Uncharted, God of War, Horizon. But after watching this, and yes, admittedly, we still got another 6 studios left to go, and Initiative, that's a big rumor. There is a big single-player game, and one would still hope that's still hopefully in their plans. After watching this, it made me think, maybe we're never going to get that. Maybe Microsoft aren't interested or don't want to do that type of strategy where they have these huge tentpole games. They instead have consoles, potentially they're lower price, but they're powerful. That's a simple message to communicate. Although actually, it was interesting. They said it's the most consistently powerful console, which I thought was an interesting little thing they added. Yeah, so but maybe they're not interested in the huge, $100 million sort of huge single player games that we've loved, the God of Wars, etc. Like maybe they're like, well, Game Pass, loads of games are great. There's loads of games on there, and that's more what they're interested in. So this is the first time I actually kind of took a step back and thought, no, they are doing things differently. They're not just, and the difference isn't just Game Pass or whatever. Like they're actually not going to be showing us 10 out of 10 game of the year, utterly incredible, you've got to play these sort of game experiences. Maybe they think they can, scale that down slightly, have lots of games, a big varied collection of games on Game Pass, get people on that, and that's good enough. Like, I feel like I need to stop allow myself to believe that the next showcase is going to have games I'm like, holy shit, this is like a Last of Us, this is a God of War, this is a Horizon. And now thinking, I don't think we're going to get this. This thing in August, yes, hopefully we're going to see the game from the Initiative, some other stuff.
I don't know if we will.
I kind of feel like it's going to be another one of these,
but then isn't that a bit depressing?
It
like
is,
the
yes,
idea that
it
you're
is
just thinking, you're just like
depressing,
saying,
but I feel like
you're just saying like
that's
all the games are going to be good, but they're not going to be like amazing or anything.
I'll rephrase that. Okay, actually, I think loads of games will be fantastic, and it's not actually about the quality of games. I feel it's more. I feel like it's a little bit what like Nintendo did with Switch. They sort of took themselves out of the race. I feel like the race now has changed. It's not Microsoft aren't trying to do a Sony and trying to one up them, and it feels like they're on a different path now. Sony got their path, and I will absolutely be getting a PS5 because I know the quality of exclusives will be, unbelievable with all their studios, the games I've just mentioned. And Microsoft have gone on a different path, and this is the first time I've truly sort of had my eyes opened and realised, that they're not trying to be Sony. Unfortunately, they're not going to have these huge tentpole releases from massive studios that. I mean, and hopefully that is the case. Hopefully, Avowed and whatever we see from Initiative and lots of their games, maybe that isn't their plans, but maybe that's in the plans.
I think you're being a bit
down the line.
Yeah, I think you're being.
It's kind of sad.
You're worrying a little bit too much. They have still got some big titles coming out. This is the first time I've kind of seen them. It is a different route, and it's not just a Game Pass thing. Maybe they're not doing what. Maybe they're not competing with Sony on Sony's terms, it feels like, from this at least.
They're not, because they're basically trying to turn the whole system so that it's like their other businesses. So it's like Office, it's like Windows, it's like, in the sense that
Clippy?
It's
Is Clippy coming to
No Clippy, sadly.
Shit.
No, in the sense that everything switches to subscriptions. Yeah. Like they want as many people to have as many subscriptions as possible to Microsoft services. That's the thing. And that's why I said I can see in the future more and more of their games are going to go the same route as things like Sea of Thieves and maybe Halo, in the sense of just slowly building them over time.
I don't know if they could do that with Fable, though.
No, maybe not with...
No, it's a fantasy RPG, of course you can.
No, I think Fable's a single player RPG. It's not a.
Oh, it doesn't
Yeah,
have
I mean,
to be
not
though.
every game is going to be a platform.
You're right. It doesn't have to be, but I can't see that.
See, if you look at like the way that if they release like Halo on Game Pass, and it comes out in sort of a beta form or whatever, and then slowly they start adding stuff over time. Are they going to start adding like microtransactions and stuff to that as well?
Maybe.
Possibly.
For like
I
updates
think
and
that's
things
my
like that.
biggest worry. Whether
that's
starts
what the Game
creeping
Pass
in.
strategy is, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
these games have paid for DLC within them, so people play them. Like, I'll buy that. And
Yeah, that's
why
my
developers are doing
biggest
so well.
concern with this stuff, for sure. If they try and, get more money out of it that way. But just quickly, before we move on, we should, wrap things up slightly. Matt, you're saying about buying a PS5. Yeah, of course you're buying a PS5. But can you see yourself buying one day one?
Yes, Dave, I'm an idiot. I'm
and
going to buy
why?
both day one.
Yeah, why?
what for,
like,
though?
because
I
I
want
like
a
the
new
idea. I
thing.
like the idea of what James did.
We don't know yet.
I like
do we?
the idea of what James did this gen, where like I know that I'm going to be playing my Xbox because all my mates play Xbox and that's where I'll play it. So what? I leave it 3 or 4 years, then get a PlayStation 5 when hopefully it doesn't look so ridiculous when a slim version comes out, and then you've got 2-3 years worth of these amazing exclusives to catch up on. Like
And they're
that
cheap.
appeals to me
I mean,
so much more.
I mean, that sounds great, but that's not how I'm doing it. I'm there day one. Day one.
Yeah, you need help.
We've already got a PC that'll run any of this stuff, Matt, as well. Never mind the One X. Like,
yeah.
this is it. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
I think everyone knows probably what I thought about this. I thought, because I've said this every year about every Microsoft conference, saw loads of great games that I will play and no reason to buy the console. Because they're all on PC now, and that's fine. That's that's a valid route.
But are they going to work as well on PC?
Yeah, that's the question now.
Why not?
For you? That's the question now for you.
No, like obviously, there will come a point where I'm going to need the new console. It's just we're not there yet.
SSD and all that sort of shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Already got an SSD, mate.
It is so.
Yeah,
got
but
one of
it's
those.
a special one.
Yeah, true, yeah. But obviously there will come a point where what the Series X can do is going to outpace my PC, obviously. But for the time being, I'm all right. I think, like I say, the Destiny thing's the most tempting, and that's just an infrastructure issue. It just means, it would just be cool to get a Series X just to definitely be able to play with you guys. But then let's see what they do with the Xbox PC version of Destiny 2. Going to be interesting.
Right. We got a prediction.
Yeah, it was an interesting conference. It was interesting. There's so much to think about. It's before it started, like, this is the biggest thing they've done. They did not want to muck it up like they did with the Xbox One.
Yeah.
They didn't, but it wasn't what I had hoped it would be.
I mean, I was shocked because after
messaging
that
was fine.
like
it's just the wrong message. Doesn't mean the messaging was confused.
The messaging was fine. It was just the wrong message.
It was a bad message delivered
but
well.
That's not the same as confused messaging.
Okay.
Confused messaging implies you say one thing and you do another. They said one thing and they did it, but ultimately that was the wrong messaging, not confused.
It was just the wrong thing.
I think there was definitely confused messaging over smart delivery, but
we should go. Are we going to cover that, James, or what?
Which bit?
Well,
I mean,
because there was a thing this week where they basically kind of backtracked and the whole didn't they?
Well, okay, so they backed off on Game Pass on every platform as a goal. Like they said, because that was the idea. They said they wanted this to appear on everything. And that's not going to happen now. Phil Spencer said, the thing about gaming console platforms is we're not able to bring a full Xbox experience on those platforms. The other competitive platforms aren't really that interested in having a full Xbox experience on their hardware. And exactly, it's just like, I can't believe that. Like, they even bothered saying that. It's like, surprise. It's
which our
is
main rivals don't want us making money off their platforms. What?
Yeah. But yeah, so that was weird. But then also there's been, I mean, we got a letter, didn't we?
Do you want me to read it out?
I think, which...
a letter?
Yeah, do you want to read that?
We sent it in with
via the Royal Mail.
Yeah.
Ooh, la-dee-da.
Picture of the Queen on it and everything. You can use that as currency, Dear TCGS Holdings.
Oh my god, he's coming out with Office references. That was
actually
Office reference.
Is that from The Office? Is that actually a quote in The Office?
Yeah,
It is, yes, yeah.
Maybe it's just hanging around you guys for so many years now. It's
Image
just
of the
by
realm.
osmosis. It's just sort of
God.
seeped in. Anyway, dear TCGS Holdings,
Bus driver had to take that. Go on,
after
sorry.
watching the Microsoft showcase, are any of you any clearer than I am on which games they showed will be coming to the Xbox One X/S consoles? Weren't all first-party games coming in the next 2 years supposed to land on these last-gen consoles? To quote The Verge on this, Forza Motorsport, Fable, Avowed, As Dusk Falls, Everwild, and State of Decay 3 were all listed as coming to Xbox Series X and Windows PC specifically, with no Xbox One support and no smart delivery feature. So that only leaves 3 possibilities. 1, Microsoft broke a huge promise in record time. 2, 6 out of the 9 next-gen exclusives Microsoft showcased today won't arrive until 2 years after launch. Or 3, someone screwed up when making the presentation title cards for each game.
Well, also, there's a 4 that they might actually release separate versions for either of those. They're just
Maybe.
not smart delivery.
Yeah, could be.
All right.
Which again is
But
confusing.
I bet they're just going to want to bin off the Xbox One as quickly as
I
possible.
agree. I think
'Cause
they
it's-
will. Definitely the S. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have been very confusing over that stuff. Hopefully that gets clarified later down the line, but even when they tried to clarify it after the conference, it made no sense. No, we're leading on that platform. Okay,
even
but what
that
about
was
smart
like,
delivery?
Yeah, so Emma Greenberg says basically there was like The Verge and other people said, what the hell's happening exactly? And initially said Microsoft sent us this is to The Verge, this dodgy reply. Our future Xbox game studios titles are being developed natively for Xbox Series X. We will continue to invest in tools for devs to scale across consoles. Which consoles each studio/game can support will be based on what's best for their game and their community at launch. And then he clarified a bit further, saying this is Aaron Greenberg again, future first-party titles are developed with Series X first. Not saying those games won't ship on Xbox One, only that we are leading with Series X and each studio will decide what's best for their game/community when they launch.
But
So
these
that's
are
completely
games.
different.
We're talking
That's
about.
confusing.
That's also completely different to what Phil Spencer has been saying for the last couple
Yeah.
of years. It's
Also,
ridiculous,
like
but yeah.
Avowed, originally that said Xbox One, that was removed in like the hours after the show. Everwild also removed Xbox One, not mention. And there's another one, Grounded as well. It said optimize the Series X, but
You know what happened, don't you? They probably thought this was a good idea, and then they started to try and do it, and then they were just like, "Man, the Xbox One really is a piece of shit. Like, we really can't make
All the
this
devs
work."
are just like,
It's
we tried.
just-
Turns out it's fucking difficult.
Yeah. Just delay everything 2 years. We've got an out. It's fine.
oh, by the way,
It's-
Grounded is on both Xbox One X, Series X, One, and PC. Just to clarify that. There's a couple of games we missed
Strange
out.
one.
There was a new Final Fantasy 2 online.
You mean Fantasy Star Online too?
Oh yeah, what
Yeah,
else?
apparently they
Final
confirmed
Fantasy
that's
2
actually
Online.
it's actually like a new one. It's not an expansion.
It's like
Apparently.
a reboot. Yeah, new Genesis Fantasy Star Online 2.
Yeah, well excited
That
about
was
that.
big. Also, Crossfire X.
Oh, yeah.
That's like the huge game. It's massive in Korea. There was like a multiplayer beta a while ago, but this is single player that they showed at the show, and it's made by Remedy.
Yeah,
Obviously, Remedy are an amazing studio. That trailer looked absolutely fantastic. I thought,
it
and
did.
that got me really excited.
Is it true that the single player campaign is not coming to Game Pass though?
I don't know.
Well, no, they said
I
everything is
heard
shown
that-
here today was Game Pass.
Yeah, but I heard that on another podcast that actually they confirmed that I was a little bit shaky when I heard it on that podcast. I can't remember which one it was, but they said that actually the campaign, the single player campaign, isn't coming to Game Pass. But who the fuck knows? Who knows?
Can I also just say, any other games we've missed, please direct your complaints to Eurogamer.
No. Direct them to James because James put this list together. Can we do the predictions?
I mean, it's midnight, so yes, please.
It's midnight. It's midnight.
It says here on whilst you're getting that ready on the sixth
I've got it
axis.
ready.
It says here, it does say that the single player will not be included in Game Pass and will instead be sold separately.
Fucking hell. Right, okay. Here we go. So the first question we had to ask was, what was the first game they were going to show? I said a new Forza. Got an X next to that. Matt put Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
He gets a tick.
Yeah.
James puts Halo Infinite. He gets a tick.
Yeah.
Come on.
Sean gets a cross for Fable. Fable there, so balls that one up. Yeah, but the thing is, I expected them to show so much more Halo, not just like one bit of a level on, in the single player. I thought we were getting multiplayer.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be like almost like a Nintendo Direct style, like
25
really
minutes. Yeah, at the end.
Not 25 minutes.
Last game
10.
showed. I put Halo Infinite. Matt put Fable. Tick for Matt. James put Perfect Dark.
Did I?
That's a cross next to
alive.
that. I know, I saw you on the stream where you went, yeah, we put Fable, didn't we, Matt?
I thought I did. I can't believe that.
No, you didn't, James.
That's going to be in the August show. That's when the initiative will show
100%.
Over Dark, James. Don't worry about it.
Sean, you said Halo Infinite.
Wrong way
It's a cross
round.
next to that.
Pillock.
Right. New game shown. I said Banjo-Kazooie, so another cross for me. Matt, do you remember what you said?
I said a new game from the initiative, didn't I?
Yeah, third-person action-adventure game, new IP, like Uncharted by the Initiative. We didn't see that.
I mean, yeah, that'll be the next one. I was one the show early.
James put new Obsidian RPG.
God damn.
Hey!
I get that then, yeah.
You
Well
got a
done,
cross
James.
next to that because you said it will look like Fallout.
Hey!
Oh, James.
Oh, come
the
on.
detail,
That's not
James.
fair.
Why every time do you do it?
You do. What do you mean it's not fair?
I'm just going to have to start being much more vague.
Yes, we told you
with
about 4
these.
or 5 prediction shows ago.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear this?
Next time, okay.
Let's listen to this quick.
I think we're going to see a new RPG that'll be the Obsidian one.
Oh yeah,
Because I know they're working on that other thing, but I think they're also there's going to be an RPG that we'll see from them. What sort of RPG?
I don't know much about them. What they've done out.
I'll say this as well before we get to this bit. Listen to Sean in the background because this is incredible. James, you should have listened to Sean. Ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And before that, they did like the Fallout games, right?
They did Fallout New Vegas. Yeah.
So is that the only type of game they've made that, or
Yeah, they've mostly made like RPGs. Yeah, let's refine it a little bit then, James.
Yeah.
Is it gonna look? We gonna look at this and think this looks like Outer Worlds?
Is it going to be another Fallout type game?
Yeah, or is it going to be something a bit different?
Could be fantasy.
I think it will be.
I'm almost tempted to give Sean a point there.
I think it's the only one I'll get, so that'd be nice.
Steady on.
I think you
Steady
will.
on.
Okay, I think I'll give you a point for that, Sean. That was, I mean, out of nowhere, just dropping in. It could be fantasy like that. Beautiful. Sean, your new game was Crimson Skies. So
That'll be next month.
So the winner in terms of predictions for the Xbox game is Matt with 2, and then James and Sean drew second place with 1 point each.
Yeah, mate.
And I finished last with 0. So well done. I'm going to get so much
Lovely
shit
job.
for giving you a point. So technically, Sean, I'm going to say you didn't get that point, and
Okay.
James finished second. Okay,
Whatever.
just to get me out of shit tweets for the rest of the week. And that's how the predictions went. Well done, Matt. Smashed it. I
Yeah.
really didn't think they were going to lead with Halo. I was so shocked when they did. And
Couldn't have
then,
been that shocked.
well, the shock went further and further and further. The
Yeah,
longer
the shock
that
stopped there, and
presentation
then
went
bigger
on.
shocks happened.
And the ultimate shock was when they went, and that's all you're getting. Right, on to the next game. What? It was so bizarre. Right, have we really got time to do any more emails? I
No,
think
we're gonna
done.
do questions next week.
Yeah, we'll do
I
that.
know we
Yeah,
said
I'm
that
getting
last
shouted
week.
at by the dog because I'm ignoring her and she's trying to fight me.
Okay, all right. Matt, do you want to do the socials?
Yeah, James, Friday, are you streaming?
Yeah, I mean, this is an ongoing conversation, isn't it, as to what I'm going to play next? And I've had an
Alright.
idea, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do it yet or not.
But basically, you are definitely not streaming Daily Permission 2 that has ended now, yeah?
I think so.
Oh, go
yeah.
on, what's
And
the idea?
Will you definitely be streaming on Friday? Or
I mean, the idea. So, I mean, we got a letter the other day.
Letter?
Why did I say letter?
What is
I don't know
happening?
why that's
This
come
is,
from.
this is like when
fucking Peter.
something, when I get something and like from Amazon and my mum says, "Oh, did you send off for it?" Like, what the?
Send off
opposed to what?
Yeah, from a magazine. Yeah.
Either way, we got another email about like Dark Calls and whether like I played Dark Souls 2 or whatever, and I have been meaning to go back to that at some point, and I've been toying with the idea of doing it on a stream on Friday nights, but I'm not sure. I'm really not sure if I can
so
go
what
through
are
with
you
it.
are you wanting the audience to tell you they want it now?
I don't know. I mean, because the thing is if I did it, I'd be expecting.
Want that.
Yeah, but
if I play
why
it,
are you saying it?
the only other
confirming
thing
one way or the other.
Because Sean asked
I know,
him
well,
to.
that's exactly. Yeah. The other thing, you see, if I do play it that way, then I'd be expecting guidance from the chat because I have no idea how to play it. But then that is also a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because exactly, and so I don't really want to spend weeks and weeks going around in circles or whatever and getting annoyed.
Just pre-ban dude. You'll be all right.
Mm.
Pre-ban
him
just before you get in there. Get rid of Dootan day one. You're sorted.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. Can I ban him? Is that
Yeah,
possible?
I mean, it's a bit rude, but. But then he never watches my streams either, so yeah, fuck it.
So, I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I need to think about it and whether it's a good idea or not. I'm not sure.
Okay, well, that's Friday. On Sunday, I'm doing Hitman at 8 o'clock, and on Tuesday, Sean will be back for Play by the Bell. And that's the following Tuesday at 9 p.m.
Yeah,
Those are all available to watch on twitch.tv/TCGSCo, or just search for TCGSCo on the Twitch app. If you've got Amazon Prime, my God, you've got Twitch Prime, and with that, you get one free subscription every month. And we'd love it if you go to our channel and gave it to us. We'd massively appreciate that. Patreon.com/TCGS. There'll be a bonus show out this week, fingers crossed. At the $5 tier. If you're $10 and above tier, you can watch In the Cuisining that we record on Friday, and you can watch that live when we do next one. We're still trying to work out exactly when to do next one. And it's tcgs.co for everything else. There's a store in there to buy some TCGS merch, links to contacts and this and the other.
I might do a stream next week, believe it or not. I kind of like the look of that Fall Guys. So if and it's coming out on PS Plus, so I might hook up to PS Plus and do a stream of that.
Yeah, mate.
Might do, might not. All right, we'll see how it goes. We hope you have a wonderful week. Thank you so much for living it. And we'll catch you next week for more gaming chitter-chat. Goodbye.
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 Bye.